What's going on? What's going on, everybody? What is going on? Happy 2023. Happy New Year to everybody. Come on in. Come on in. Let me know where you are checking in from. Let me know where you're checking in from. Hit that like button. Hit that like button as you come in to the chat, as you come into the live stream. Let me know where you're checking in from. Pippi, what's going on? Shout out to all the MGM. Shout out to Pippi. We missed you Sunday night. Brian Watkins, VA, Mr. Kirk in the building. Just came off Mr. Kirk's live. Very informative live Mr. Kirk just put on. I'm gonna let the room build up. Joe Gonzalez in the building. Florida in the building. I'm gonna let the room build up. Alexis in the building. Florida is in the building tonight. Seeing a few people that were over on Mr. Kirk's live. He just went off. I'm gonna get into a little bit about what he talked about, which was very informative information. I got a lot of stuff I want to talk about tonight. I've been kind of quiet for the past 2 weeks. I did a few lives, gave some stuff away the other night, did a live maybe about a week ago. Just fun lives, but we're going to get back to the informational stuff now. I'm going to let the room build up. Nick in the building. What's going on, Nick? Brian Watkins in the building. Come on in. Hope everybody had a healthy, prosperous, safe New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. Hope everyone had a good holiday season, good, safe, healthy Christmas. But now it's 2023. Back to work. It's back to work. All right. So top of the year. I know I came on YouTube in April of 2021. All right. So April of 2022. I'm sorry. So April of 2023 will make a full year for me. So by this being January, top of the year, we're going to start it off strong. Y'all, I apologize. I was out. Let's just say I was out on the couch preparing for 2023. Yeah, we kind of figured Sunday, Sunday I figured by 8 o'clock when I went live, I figured a lot of people who had went out the night before would have, gotten through their hangover or whatnot by that point, but still it was clear it was a lot of people that was still out of commission Sunday night from the night before. Diego, what's going on? Sunday night I did something and I didn't announce it. This is something that I have been planning to do for about 2 months. And it's not something that I promoted. I didn't want any I didn't want to get any I didn't want to build any hype around it. I didn't want to build subscribers from it and all that type of stuff. So I did it very quietly. It wasn't any promotion behind it. And the people that were there, they were there. There's 15 lucky people that were there that benefited from it. And whenever I do something like that I'm giving away from the kindness of my heart, I'm not gonna promote it. It's just gonna be spur of the moment thing. So it's one of those situations, if you're there, you're there. You dig what I'm saying? You're there. So you never know what might happen when I'm on live one day. You never know what I might give away or what I might do. So just make sure you keep checking out the information, the content, and stay abreast of what's going on. Joseph in the building, what's going on? Diego in the building. Diego, what else? Alexis in the building. I'm gonna let the room build up. So yeah, I hope everybody had a happy New Year. So tonight I want to talk about 3 important things that need to change in freight for things to kind of turn around, for people to start seeing the kind of upside of this trucking thing. But before we get into that, since I've been kind of out of commission for the past 2 weeks as far as informational content, I'm gonna do a little backtracking. The room's starting to build in. Kenneth, what's going on? Let me remove this stuff so I can see everybody. You dig? Let me put that back over there. All right. Kenneth in the building. What's going on? 684 Dad, what's going on? Joseph, what's going on? Urban and Bold, what's going on? Shout out to everybody coming in the building. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. Ace in the building. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? So we're gonna backtrack a little bit. Got to do some more reality checking, guys. I hate to always have to do reality checks, but man, some people still not getting it. Some people still not getting it. You know what I'm saying? I came off of Kirk's live a few minutes ago, and he was talking about experience. And this is something I've been telling y'all for the longest. You know what I'm saying? Experience, experience, experience. You guys got to figure out who you're going to take, who you're going to consume content from. All right, it's okay if you consume it from more than one person, but you got to consume content from sources that make sense. All right, sources that make sense. All right, and experience is going to be your best teacher. Wisdom is going to be your best teacher. All right. I growing up, my mother used to always say things and certain things that didn't make sense what she was saying at that particular time. But as I got older, a lot of the stuff I remember her saying in my younger years that came into fruition, I was like, you know what? Now I see why she said that. Same thing with my grandmother, same thing with older people in my family, older homies. You know what I'm saying? Wisdom. All right. Wisdom is always going to be your best teacher. So when you're consuming content, from people online, try to go with experience. You see what I'm saying? And you won't go wrong. So I'm going to talk about these three things tonight, but we're going to backtrack a little bit. We're going to do a reality check. I did a video. We're going to do a reality check. I got to address that Amazon video I put out like 2-3 weeks ago because I just kind of threw it out there and never talked about it on the live. The holidays came, and I just did fun lives over the holidays. Also, I threw up that in the community. I threw up those Amazon box trucks. I threw up the DSPs hiring. All right, DSPs are hiring all over the country. All right, so we're going to talk about that too, because I know a lot of questions were asked. I answered as many of them as I can, and then I kind of just stopped answering a lot of comments. I caught up on a lot of comments yesterday because I wanted to enjoy my holiday break. I didn't do nothing. I didn't travel. I didn't do nothing. I was just really chilling. You know what I'm saying? Chilling, but I needed to give myself a break. Excuse me. I needed to give myself a break from just information, putting out information. I wanted to give my brain a break. So that's what I did for the past 2 weeks, but now it's back to work. All right. So let's get into it. Hit that like button as you come in. The room is building up. Kobe Curry, what's going on? R. Anthony Harge, what's going on? Let me know where you're checking in from. Hit that like button. I got you tagged on both YouTube and Facebook. Appreciate that. If I have a new business, how can I get finance for a truck if I have the down payment? If I have a new business, how can I get finance for the truck if I had a down payment? If you got a brand new business, but questions are usually at the end, but I'm going to answer this question right now. If you have a brand new business, nobody's going to finance that business. Because the business is new, it's not established. Nobody's going to take a risk. So you have to personally guarantee it. All right. So if you buy a truck, you're going to buy it under the business, right? But you're going to have to personally guarantee it, which is a fancy business way for saying your personal credit is going to have to co-sign for the business credit. That's the only way you're going to do it. That's the only way you're going to be able to do it. There's nothing wrong with that. When I got started, I had to personally guarantee everything. All right. The second go around, once you do everything right, you pay off the finance company. If you go back to buy a second truck from that same finance company, 95% of the time, the second go around, they'll go ahead and trust the business and fund the business on its own without you having to personally guarantee it. A lot of people ask me that question. It's a question that I thought a lot of people know, but I guess not. If you're new to business, there's a lot of things people don't know. So yeah, so you just personally guaranteeing the business. You're just basically using your personal credit to co-sign for the business credit. Now, the only way that's going to work is your personal credit has to be okay or strong. All right, in order to pull that off. If your personal credit is not good, then it's not going to work. So, and then in that case, I would suggest you get your personal credit in order, because you're going to need personal credit to get any equipment under the business because you're going to have to personally guarantee it. All right. So come on in. We're going to get started. What up, Mark? Love your content. Atlanta, Georgia in the building. What is going on? Fentress Malone. All right. So let's get into this. A few weeks ago, I did this video on Amazon. Middle mile route opportunity. All right. It's a real thing, guys. All right. The trucks that I put out, they're real. The DSPs, this is a program. All right. This is a program that Amazon is quietly rolling out. All right. Now, I talk about Amazon, all the time. And I say, look, Amazon has a history of repeating itself. All right. The way they roll out new programs, they roll them out all the same, quietly. They don't promote it. They start from within the company. They're using their top DSPs. These aren't your mom and pop DSPs that are in one domicile with 20 vans and they're just trying to figure it out. And these are the top DSPs across the country. These are DSPs that are operating out of multiple facilities in multiple states. These are DSPs that are running out of multiple facilities in multiple states and also have FedEx contracts. These are the creme de la creme of Amazon DSP contract. These are the guys that have the infrastructure. These are the guys that have the capital. All right. They're too big to fail. These are the guys that have the infrastructure that get it, that can be profitable. All right. So they're piloting piloting it with the top DSPs within their network. Now I know a lot of the questions people probably have is, why is this happening? This is something I told you that was going to happen. I told you guys that eventually this was going to happen. Now, are they going to phase out Relay? I don't know. They may phase it out. They may not. If they do phase it out, it's not going to be something that's going to happen tomorrow, next month, this year. It's going to take some time. All right. But what I can tell you is that if they don't phase it out, as they purchase more trucks, right, as they open it up to more DSPs, obviously they're rolling it out with the top DSPs, because the top DSPs actually get the program. It'll be easier for them to get this up and going. And then as they learn from trial and error from the top DSPs, they'll more than likely open it up. And the reason why I'm saying this is because this is how they've launched other programs like DSP AFP, right? They're going to open it up probably to the rest of the DSPs. And then once the rest of the DSPs get their crack at it, eventually then they'll probably open up this to the public. All right. So why are they doing this? All right. It's simple why they're doing it. There's a lot of issues with the middle mile. This is not Mark saying this. This is their main consulting firm that they pay millions of dollars that is saying this. That has brought it to the media. They're saying, yo, we're struggling with the middle mile. We can't meet our 2-day commitment. Now, why are they not meeting their 2-day commitment? It's a plethora of reasons why they're not meeting their 2-day commitment, but I'll talk about one. All right. We'll talk about one. We'll talk about contractors. All right. We'll talk about contractors. Over the past year or two, there's just been a lot of hiccups with contractors. All right. It's better for Amazon if they take control of the middle mile, like they did with DSP, right? And like they did with the AFP program, and control it. All right. So if some of you guys remember DSP back in the day, it was those white vans. Some of you guys may remember. Some of you guys may be too young to remember. It wasn't that many years ago, but some of you guys may just not remember because you weren't interested in logistics 5, 6, 7. When did they go to the blue vans? 2017, 2018. So let's say 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. It was white vans. All right. The reason why they got out of the white vans is the same reason why they're trying to transition out of Relay into the MMRO program, which is the Middle Mile Route Opportunity Program. Now, those vans were raggedy. They were tearing them up. I remember when I got presented the opportunity and I went to Enterprise to get my 20 vans, and they hit me with a $1,300 a month for the van and a $1,300 a month escrow. Julie, what's up with this? What's going on? Hey, Mark, all these other contractors are tearing our equipment up. They're tearing our equipment up. Amazon had to take control of that. All right. Amazon holds themselves to a high standard. All right. So, they couldn't have raggedy white vans with spray paint and gang paraphernalia spray painting onto the side of the van, pulling up, delivering somebody's cell phone case to their home. You know what I'm saying? They had to, make it a little bit more professional. And the way they did it was they took full control of it, right? And passed off all the liability to the contractor. They control every aspect of the DSP program. They control every aspect of the AFP program. And once they did it that way, it got better. Not saying it's the best, but it's a lot better than the way it was. All right. Middle mile. All right. If the middle mile fails, then everything else fails. All right. The middle mile is the first step to getting the customer their goods, all right, within that 2-day commitment, right? So if the middle mile is failing, then obviously the final mile is going to fail, right? That's why the article said, it didn't have nothing to do with the final mile. It starts with the middle mile. All right. It's nothing for Amazon to buy a bunch of box trucks. It's nothing for them to do it. It's nothing for them to create a program like DSP and AFP, buy a bunch of box trucks, right? Have DSPs and eventually open it up to people, business owners who have the capital to buy into the program. Start you off with 10 box trucks, buy in for 20, 30,000, let them control every aspect, and you just middle manage it for them. And they treat you like you own the business, but really you're working for them for, I guess, depending on what your margins look like. They pretty much tell you your margin going to be somewhere between 10 and 12%. Sorry, not 10 to 12. It was 10 and 12. Now it's 7 and 12%. All right. And pretty much you're just running it for them. They're telling you what to do. You don't have any say so, but they're controlling it, right? It makes it a little bit easier. And so now ain't no complaining about the post office is closed, because guess what? The DSP is getting paid a flat rate, right? They're hiring a driver. I've seen drivers in some markets as low as $18.50, in some markets as high as $24. Obviously, the pay scale is going to fluctuate depending on the cost of living in whatever market that is, right? And then you're going to pay a driver to go out and do the same thing the contractor is doing. And guess what? If Joe Schmo goes to the post office at 1 o'clock in the morning for $22 an hour, he doesn't care if it's not open. He got to sit there because he's on the clock. He's on the clock. So you paying this owner operator $500, right, to run this same 2-hour run, and now you got a contractor who's probably getting a guaranteed rate per day, and you got guys driving these box trucks per hour, so they're saving money on every single run they're doing. You think Amazon is buying a box truck for what you buy a box truck for? Of course not, because they're buying them by the thousands. They're putting orders in. They say, yo, just make them. Make them. Here's the color code. This blue, whatever that blue color code, they own that color code, right? They have a patent on that color code. Here, build these trucks and keep building them until we tell you to stop. Simple. We're going to call this the MMRO program. And it is what it is. All right. So now, once again, are they going to stop Relay? I don't know. Will this affect Relay if they don't stop it? Of course, because the more trucks they buy, right, the more trucks they put out there and run under their own umbrella, right, it's going to take work away from the load board. It's going to take work away. So once again, everything that I forecast, and I'm telling you this now. So I'm not saying it's going to happen next week. I'm not saying it's going to happen next month, but eventually it's going to happen. I showed you, I proved it to you. It's there. Because more trucks are coming. More trucks are coming. So the more trucks that get into the infrastructure, the more trucks that start coming into their system, the less work that's going to be on the load board, and the prices are going to go down. So now everybody that's running, all right, you're going to have an influx of suppliers still, right? But the demand is going to go down because it's going to start getting funneled to the people who have vested interest. They have vested interest to the DSPs currently, right? And the DSPs have vested interest into their program. So they're getting first crack at it. So you guys that are running this, man, I keep telling y'all, man, don't make things y'all end all be all. So don't wait to the last minute And then it's trash and stuff. I'm telling you what's going on. I'm telling you from the inside. Ain't nobody else put this information out. I put the information out. I showed you the trucks. I even told you the name of the program. I don't run Amazon. This is inside information. So you can take the information. You can call me crazy. You can, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. This, that, and the third. But the information is here. And in a year from now, or 6 months from now, or a year and a half from now, when they announce it to the public, and then I'm just going to come back and say, yeah, remember last year I told y'all. It's not the fact that I'm not right. It's just not right now. Same thing about the peak season. So keep your eyes open. It's there. You know, it is what it is. All right. It is what it is. It is what it is. All right. Let's get into some reality check stuff, man. Let's get into some reality check stuff. I've been checking everything out. I seen a few of those trucks in my neighborhood. Yeah. So those trucks exist. They're out here. They're making runs. If you go on Indeed, you got DSPs that are hiring. They're saying, yo, Amazon DSPs, we're hiring for overnight box truck drivers, $18 to $24 an hour to deliver palletized freight from Amazon facility to Amazon facility or Amazon facility to multiple post offices on a route. It's called the middle mile route opportunity. That's what they're calling it. All right. So it is what it is. All right. So I've been watching content. All right. Over the past few weeks. And I it's funny now how the sentiment has changed in this box truck community. You know, it went from make X amount of dollars and my box truck made 20,000 last week, and you know, rent this box truck and let me show you how, and da 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 da, to now every other video that pops up on my recommended, and like half of these people I don't know, I never seen them before. You know, they don't have that many subscribers, things of that nature. To now the sentiment is the box truck industry is trash. I got rid of my box truck. I turned my box truck in. It's like now everybody's like riding this down wave of because of why the industry is trash. And I just don't think that's good, because everything that I said was going to happen is happening, and it's happening. You know, so now these same people that were pumping stuff up, some of them ain't the same people, because some of them like 100 subscribers, 200 subscribers. And I'm not knocking nobody that got 100 subscribers, 200 subscribers, because we all started from zero. But it's like I said something a few weeks ago when I did the box truck hype live stream. Like, when you use words like trash and garbage, it puts a negative connotation on an industry. All right. And just because you didn't do good at it doesn't mean on your exit you have to trash it for other people. Yes, the industry is rough right now. It's rough. But here's the thing: you didn't enter right. You didn't enter right. You entered with high hopes. You entered wrong. You entered thinking you was going to make $1 million because you saw a YouTube video and they said, yo, let me show you how you can make this, or go rent a box truck and you can do this. And that was cap. It was cap. So say this is what the title of your video should be: I saw a YouTube video and I believed it and I invested my money and I messed up. Or I saw some guy on Instagram who said, man, I can rent a box truck and I can make $1 million with Amazon by renting a box truck. And I went and did it and it didn't pan out right. I should have did more research. So I'm turning in my box truck. That's what the title of these videos should be. I turn it in my truck. That's what the title of these videos should be. Oh man, when I got in, rates were $10 million a mile, but now it's $1 a mile. But I thought it was going to be like that forever because I didn't know better, but I learned now. That's what the title of your video should be. It shouldn't be, oh, it's trash, because you didn't do good. Because guess what? Somebody else is also not doing good, but they're hanging in there. You know, they're hanging in there by the skin of their teeth. They probably eating bologna and cereal. You know what I'm saying? Whatever they doing to get by, to try to, maintain until things turn around. So, because it didn't work out for you, you know what I'm saying? That's all good, but don't put a negative connotation on something because it didn't work out for you. I don't use those words. I don't think it, if you call yourself a professional, then man, act professional. You dig what I'm saying? Act professional. Act professional. You know what I'm saying? Be a professional. All right. It is what it is. Now, as far as everybody else, that is still a lot of people out here that still got these high hopes. And it's like I keep telling y'all, like, yo, it is what it is. January is here now. Yo, the peak season thing, you know why I didn't talk about peak season in December? Because what's known don't need to be explained. I'm not one of them type of guys that's going to sit up here and keep pushing the envelope. I said what I said. When November hit, I told you, I stood on it, right? I stood on it. I don't get up here and be talking about stuff just to be talking about it. A lot of the stuff that I talk about, other people not going to talk about because they don't have the experience or the knowledge base to talk about these things. And even if I wrote the content, Ghost wrote the content for them, they would be scared to say this stuff because a lot of it may seem risky to them. You know what I'm saying? Because it may end their YouTube career, right? You know what I'm saying? But the reason why I can get up here and confidently say, yo, you're not going to see the peak season that you expect to see. And guess what? Some people made it seem like peak season was good, but the sentiment of the whole YouTube was that it wasn't. People were on the live saying, yo, it sucks. People were exiting the box truck industry in December by record numbers, content creators as well. So, like, come on now, let's measure this thing here. Box trucks, semi trucks, like let's measure it here. Some ain't right. People exiting, people saying it's good. It's not measuring out. It's not measuring out. Like let's keep it funky here. We know why it wasn't good. The reason why I said it wasn't going to be good is why it wasn't good. Everybody that runs a truck, your peak season, all right, you may have some little uptick, right? You saw that little uptick, whatever, in December, but your big peak season, middle mile is October, November. You're running the middle mile. That little shuffling from warehouse to warehouse, that don't count for y'all. You're running middle mile. It's your job to get it from when that stuff comes off the train, that stuff hits the port, it goes intermodal to a local facility, right? For distribution, boom, that middle mile, running that stuff from that middle mile, that warehouse, that intermodal, once it hits that intermodal, that warehouse, running from there to that fulfillment center. October, November. You didn't see that. October was slow. November was slow. So now that it's over with, and I didn't mention it in December because I wanted everybody to just go in their little frenzy, and I just sat back and watched. So you got umpteen bunches of people exiting the trucking industry. I don't have to make it up. Go look at the content. It's up there. You got people still exiting. I'm looking at videos popped up on my recommended 2 weeks ago. I'm turning in my box truck. I'm turning in my rental. Instagram, I'm turning in my rental. This is December. This is leading into Christmas. This is leading in to what's supposed to be the biggest month of the year, Q4, right? Especially December, right? For trucking. But you got people exiting. What's known don't need to be explained. That's why I didn't have to say nothing. I don't have to say nothing because I know why it wasn't going to be what it was, because the freight was already where it needed to be. Freight was already where it needed to be. I told you this, all right? And when I told you this, then the retailers came out and started telling. I said it before the retailers. I said it back in August. Amazon came out October and did a 2-day spur of the moment fake Prime Day, right? And they said, yo, we need to get rid of some inventory. Nike, yo, we got too much inventory. The retailers didn't order anything. How are you going to have a peak season if there's nothing to move from place to place? Final Mile saw it on the delivery end. You know, so I you know, what's known don't need to be explained, guys. That's why I didn't talk about it. Like, I know people are going to make it seem like it's something, but listen, the evidence is there. All you got to do is look. You can come on one of my live streams and everybody was saying Amazon this or middle mile that. You know, it was what it was. Going forward, I think you guys who are looking to enter the space need to make sound decisions. You guys got to make sound decisions. So what Mark did, all right, this is what Mark did for people who weren't here on Sunday. Mark gave, and Mark don't do mentorships. Mark don't do a mentorship. You go to my website, I don't got a mentorship. So this is what Mark did. Mark said, you know what? Since everybody is complaining about the scams and the value and mentorships and this, that, Mark don't do mentorship. But this is what Mark did. Mark created a mentorship and gave it away. I sponsored 15 people at $75,000. I sponsored in free mentorships for a 4-week course. Gave it away Sunday. Didn't announce it. I planned it. You know what I'm saying? Didn't announce it. Didn't want to make a big spectacle of that. The people that were here Sunday, the people who were blessed enough to get it, they got it. Congratulations to those people. As courtesy of me coming out, I'm paying for it. All right. So, you know, 75,000, 15 free mentorships. So now this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to challenge. I was going to challenge Kirk, but I watched Kirk's live. He's giving away stuff Sunday. All right. Great. So I'm not going to challenge Kirk, but this is what I'm going to do. And this is what sets the tone for the whole space. All right. Like, we got to get grown up right now. This is what's going to set the tone for the space, to make the space better. Just like people are shaking out the trucking industry, like a lot of the people who entered wrong and have exited. Same thing with the content creators. This is what we're going to do. We got to get some of these people up out of here. So this is what Mark going to do. Since Mark giving away $75,000 in free mentorship, Kirk giving away vacations and stuff on his channel, I'm going to challenge somebody, and then I want them to challenge somebody else. And this is how we're going to keep it going. Because now the people who don't participate, now we need to look to see, what are you really here for? Are you really here to help? All right, so this is what I want to do. I want to challenge, and somebody can tag him, I want to challenge Big Vic. I know Big Vic has a mentorship program, so I'm not saying people don't charge for your mentorship program. That's not what I'm saying. But what I want to do is I want to challenge one person, and then I would hope he would accept it and then pass it and challenge someone else. I know Vic has a mentorship. When he opens it back up, somebody tag him. I don't know how many people he takes, but let's say he takes 10 people. I challenge him, out of those 10 people, at least one person he sponsored. Let it be someone that may be on hard times, that has the money, that's looking to get into the box truck industry, but they may not have the money for his mentorship. So I'm challenging Big Vic. Somebody tag him, you know, and this is a friendly challenge. I challenge Big Vic to sponsor and to give someone a Big Vic mentorship scholarship. One person, just one person. So if he takes 10 into his program, sponsor one person. And then I would hope he would accept that challenge. And then I want what I want him to do is, once he accepts it, hopefully he does, he challenges another content creator. Obviously, this is not going to be for every trucking content creator. Some of these content creators ain't worth a mint. Like, I wouldn't listen to them. You dig what I'm saying? And I'm not thinking about nobody in particular. So y'all can get that out your head. Just some people just are not tenured enough. They're not tenured enough. All right. They're not tenured enough. Tenured means experience. They don't have the experience. So I'm challenging Big Vic to sponsor at least one person whenever he opens up his mentorship again. Just one. However he does it, I don't care. I guess maybe you probably want him to write an essay. They got to prove that, you know, this mentorship would be a blessing. They can't afford it. However he wants to do it, so be it. And hopefully, if he accepts that challenge, I would hope he would pass that challenge forward to another box truck content creator and challenge them to do the same thing. And this is how you make things happen. And this is how you make things better in this community. And that's how I want to start the year off. I got a lot of DMs, you know what I'm saying? So change it, challenge trucking out the box. Listen, I'm not gonna, here's the thing. I don't know trucking out the box. I've never had any dialogue with him. All right. So it would be kind of weird for me to challenge someone I've never had dialogue with. I've had dialogue with Vic. I've had dialogue with Kirk. I actually was going to challenge Kirk, but Kirk, I guess he probably saw my live and he's doing stuff Sunday. He's giving away stuff Sunday. So I can't challenge him because he's already jumped to it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna challenge Vic. I'm putting the video up here. I'm not gonna DM him. You know, I want somebody to tag him to watch. That's why I'm saying this at the beginning of the video. So if he does come back and watch, he don't have to watch the whole live. He may be watching now. And this is friendly. This is to do something. I'm not saying do what Mark did. Mark is finna sit down with 15 people. I went over 5 people because guess what? Originally, I was going to do 5 Sunday. But then I said, skip it. Let me just get it out the way 10. But then I had other people, man, Mark, please. So I bumped it up to 15 and cut it off. But guess what? People watch the replay. People have been in my DM. Mark, why you didn't say you was going to do this? Blah, 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 blah. Listen, I can't help everybody. I may do it again in the spring, but right now, I can only do it with the 15 people. And I think that's too many. All right. I'm dedicating 4 Sundays of my time to spending a couple hours with these people. And I did it for advanced. For beginners. This is for beginners. All right. It's not for intermediate. It's not for advanced. I made sure when I announced it, I said, yo, people who are entering into the space, people who don't even have a truck yet. All right. So that way I can catch them early. All right. Mentor them from the beginning so they don't make a lot of the mistakes that a lot of the people who entered last year made. All right. So that was why it's important that I grab people who are in the beginning phases. All right. So that's how I want to do mine. I don't care how other people do theirs, but I am going to put out that challenge to Vic. So somebody tag him and let him know, guys, y'all got to figure out who y'all going to consume y'all content from. And like Kirk said on his live, y'all got to stop jumping all over the place. All right. If it don't make sense, then it's probably not good information. You know what I'm saying? It's probably not good information. All right. There's certain people that do Amazon. All right. If all a person does is Amazon, that may be who the best person you may want to go as far as Amazon content. That's hands-on content. All right. If a person does Amazon and they give out hands-on content, hands-on information because they're actually physically doing it, then that's who you want to go get strategy from. If a person is doing partials, all right, boom, that's who you want to go get strategy from. Person's doing final mile, all right, strategy. Now, when it comes to other things where a person who may have, let's say like economical experience, I have a degree in business. I went to school for business. I studied micro, I studied macro, all right. So when I do videos from an economic standpoint, it's not because it has something to do with my experience in trucking, but it also has something to do with my educational background as well. It's the two intertwined. You know what I'm saying? So I can look at things maybe from a different lens or a different scope from the next person. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm utilizing my book sense as far as what I learned, you know, in college in those economic classes when I look at the trucking industry. All right. Intertwined, obviously, with experience in the last 13 going on 14 years. All right. So experience is going to always be the best teacher, guys. Stop believing stuff. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Yo, if you're still renting a box truck, and like all those people who did those videos about the $1,500 rentals, I've been told y'all to go get up out of them trucks. I said get up out of them trucks in November. I told you holding on to faith for this peak season, and you wasn't going to see it. If you would have got up out of that thing in November, like I said, dude, you wouldn't have to do the walk of shame in December peak season, turning in your box truck. And I'm not making fun of nobody. I'm not trying to be harsh to nobody, but man, it is what it is. I said this was going to happen, y'all. Now December is here. All right. Now let me fast forward to this. A lot of people, hey Mark, I want to get into the trucking thing, but I'm going to listen to what you said. I'm going to start with the cargo van because it's cheaper. But man, I don't have the money for the cargo van. So what did Mark do? Mark started creating content for you to get into the logistics field with your car. And people still complaining. Yo, listen. If you really want it, you're going to go get it. Mark started with a pickup truck. I started with a pickup truck. All right. where I got to, my peak, I never dreamed in a million years I would have got there from a pickup truck. But guess what? It happened. You know why it happened, right? It happened because I worked my ass off. I worked hard every single day, 7 days a week. All right. That came first. That business, me running that, hustling out of that pickup truck, taking those jobs off of Craigslist, seeing that type of money, the ambition that I had to want to go out and then rent a truck and say, you know what? If I rented a truck, I can get more done more efficiently, more quick. I don't have to sit up here and play Tetris in the back of a Chevy Avalanche. So that's what I did. And then from there, the phone kept ringing and I kept growing. Once I reached in my pocket that first time, I never had to reach back in my pocket again. I had ambition. Like, y'all got to have ambition. If you don't have the resources, capital, right? Boom. But you have a vehicle, right? You have a vehicle. There's opportunity now, right? That didn't exist back when in my day, in 2010, when I got started. You can go do logistic stuff in your personal car. You can go do medical, right? You can do specimens, right? T-Force, I keep talking about the T-Force. StockX, you can go run StockX runs, guaranteed $225 a day. Zara, StockX has a bunch of retail accounts, right? Through their partnership with UPS. There's opportunity for you to make money in your personal vehicle. Then you have the apps. Man, go get you some Amazon Flex runs. Go get you some roadie stuff. Go on Freight. Go on GoShare. Do what you got to do to get to where you got to get to. All right. Now, Mark ain't the person who's going to sit up here and tell you, yo, you can make X amount of dollars if you go rent a box. I'm not going to sell you those dreams because I know that's cap. It's not true. It's not true. The money, listen, at the rate they're renting box trucks for now, plus all the stipulations centered around what they're charging you per week, plus now the down payment, no. And then at the rates that Amazon is paying, the rates of the spot market, no, you're not. So if you have dreams, if you're watching this and you got dreams of being a multimillionaire, it's not going to happen with one truck. It's not going to happen with one truck, and not at these rates. You got to bump, you got to hustle, and you got to really grind this thing out. All right. I spoke with someone earlier and I had to tell that person may be watching, like, yo, your numbers is not realistic. Like, you got to come up with realistic numbers. All right. Some of y'all still don't even know what it costs you to run your truck. Like, y'all got to sit down and really do the knowledge and do the research on this industry that you want to get into. Like, yo, you got to, like, why are you not keeping up with, you got to do the research. A lot of people still don't know how to pay themselves, right? And I talk to people all the time. People hit me in the DMs all the time. The problem now that I'm seeing is I think people have unrealistic thoughts when it comes to this. I think unrealistic expectations. That's what I'm trying to say. I think a lot of people have unrealistic expectations, and I think, and that goes back to like what the live I was watching earlier. You got to narrow down who you're going to consume information from. Because if you got Mark telling you, yo, that's not realistic, but then you got another guy calling Mark a hater, he don't know what he's talking about, telling you can make $1 million with one truck, it's just not, you're going to be confused, and it's just not going to mesh. It's just not going to mesh, man. And that's 100% funky. That's 100% funky. And this is 2-3 weeks of me just not talking, just keeping quiet, watching things, looking at things unfold, watching people turn in their trucks, and just looking at the mess that I'm seeing on social media as far as this trucking, and just looking at it from afar, just shaking my head. So y'all got to figure that out, man. But let's get into the 3 things, and we're going to make this real quick, and we'll talk about it real quick. and then Q&A, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. All right, so it's 3 things that we need to look for in 2023 in order for things to change as far as freight is concerned. I know a lot of people are upset with the current rates. But hey, guys, listen, some things are just beyond your control. All right. I be watching a lot of people talking about stop taking cheap rates and all that. Listen, listen. You can't not listen. It's people out there that take cheap rates because they can afford to take them. All right. Not everybody, like it's some guy out there that got a 2008, a 2009, 2006, 2005 truck that's running, truck been paid for. 50 years old, 40 years old, been running. Insurance ain't high because they're not 23 years old, 25 years old. You can't knock a person because they're 48 years old or 50 years old. So their insurance is a lot cheaper than Mr. 23, 24, 25, 26 year old, right? Their truck is an 06, 07, 08, right? And they don't have the expenses that you have, the cost that you have because of your situation. You may be paying high insurance because you're a novice, because you're young, you're in your 20s, you don't have the road experience. You're going to pay for that. Insurance company is going to charge you for that. All right. If you're renting a truck and you're renting a 2022, 2023, you're going to pay insurance for a new truck. But then people say, oh, don't go buy. Listen. If you go to a place and you find an 06, 07 truck, and like I always say, you take your mechanic and your mechanic gives you the thumbs up, then if you feel comfortable and you feel confident, then go for it. Not everybody has the luxury to start with a new truck. So when I see people say, yeah, you go back, listen, man, listen. Don't listen to people who don't know what the hell they talking about. Mark bought his trucks in 2013 and 2014. I say this all the time. And when I bought my trucks, they were 8 years old then. So how old are they now? GoShare won't even let me on the app because they got a 15-year minimum. Don't mean my trucks don't start up, because they do, and they run perfectly fine. So, a lot of things, when I see people saying, don't, these people taking cheap loads, man, that's like, bro, I don't, let me say, I don't like when people don't say that. I just want to say, I don't think everybody's situated. Now, there's some people that just take cheap loads because they just don't know no better. All right. But not everybody is in that situation. If I decided to run the middle mile, I can run loads a lot cheaper than half these people that's renting the truck. I'm 42 years old. Trucks are older. No blemishes on my MVR. If it was just me getting out, taking one of my trucks and hitting the road, I can run a lot cheaper than a lot of these cats out here. And they're going to get mad at me at some of the rates that I would take. But is that my fault? Is that my fault that I'm 15 years older than you? Is that my fault that I've been doing this longer than you? No, it's just circumstance. It's just circumstance. So because you're younger, right? You have to enter smarter. Certain things you're just not going to be able to control. You can't control your age. And this is to the young guys that I talk to that want to make a lot of money. Yo, if you're young, you're young. You can't control the fact that you're young. The insurance is going to charge you because you're young. All right. So how do you curve that? If you're going to buy a truck, all right. And I'm not saying, like, me personally, I'm not saying go buy the oldest truck you can buy. But when I'm telling you, a trick is a truck that's a little bit aged, a truck that's aged is going to cost you less in insurance. But see, a lot of these cats don't know that. They don't know that. They don't know that till they come to me and I'm like, well, yeah, man, they gave me a 2022, 2023. Well, that's why you paying $2,800 a month for insurance. Like, listen, the stuff that I hear people tell me, I can't share it with you guys because it's personal information, but this is the stuff I hear. All right. So let's talk about these 3 things. All right. The first thing we're going to talk about is imports. These are things that no one can control. All right. These are 3 things that need to change in order for these costs to turn around, for freight to get better. Imports, guys. This is something I've been talking about for months. Imports are down. There's a bunch of reasons why they're down. You got the thing going on with China. Another thing, that reason why imports are down is because American companies have scaled back on ordering things. Why did they scale back on ordering things? The same thing I've been telling you for the past few months, because of an overabundance of overstock. They have too much stuff. They have too much stuff. They ordered a bunch of stuff. Supply chain. All right. When the supply chain got interrupted, I'm going to say it again, going into 2023, like, why I have to repeat the same stuff over and over and over and over and over again. Supply chain got interrupted, guys. And the supply chain got interrupted and it got delayed for those months. All right. That stuff was sitting at sea, right? While that stuff was sitting at sea, those orders, right? Those retailers were also ordering an abundance of more stuff. They were ordering more stuff. So when that stuff finally started coming, that stuff that had been sitting, and then that other stuff that came, now if they were ordering whatever, let's say they were ordering 100 pieces, now they were ordering 1,000 pieces or 10,000 pieces. All right, because in case of another shutdown, which did eventually happen, their shelves wouldn't be empty. But see, what happened was, and I said this before, once that stuff started coming in, consumer buying behavior shifted. And I'm going to get to that. That's going to be my third thing that I want to talk about, because it's something that I want to talk about that consumer buying behavior shifting. I'm going to tell you what it shifted to, right? I'm going to tell you what it shifted to. And I'm going to also tell you why the economy, like we're saying, we're going into recession, we're not going into recession, we're going into recession, we're not going into recession. So I'm going to get into that in the third thing. So imports are down. Imports are down. In order for things to turn around, rates to go up, volume to go back up, imports have to increase. Imports have to increase, which means retailers have to start ordering more things so we can have more things come through the port, more things can go through the intermodal process, and then ultimately you guys that run box trucks, middle mile, partials can get those partial loads and run them, and rates will continue to go back up a little bit. All right, another thing, second thing, manufacturing is not meeting demand. All right, manufacturing is an issue. So now when you talk about manufacturing, we're talking about it from every scope. We talking about things that are manufactured that you can move on a box truck. We talk about things that are manufactured that can move on a semi truck, flatbed, hot shot. Manufacturing is not up to par with demand. Why is manufacturing not up to par with demand? Manufacturing is not up to par with demand because it's still lagging behind due to what? The pandemic. Why? One is employment. A lot of people didn't go back to work. Right, a lot of people didn't go back to work. Manufacturing just not pumping out. I got a graph here. Give me 1 second. Let me pull it up here. All right, so manufacturing is not pumping out product to meet the demand. So if you look to the left, new orders, all right, and then if you look to the right, output. All right, so in order for rates to kind of turn around, volume to kick back up, output has to catch up with demand. All right, so places are ordering things, but manufacturing is still lagging behind. My take on it, I think eventually manufacturing will kind of pick back up. It won't be this quarter, probably won't be second quarter. If we see any signs of manufacturing pick back up, it's probably going to be the latter part of Q2, or maybe beginning of Q3. All right, so we talked about imports being down. We talked about manufacturing still lagging behind. All right, so let's get into this third thing. And like I mentioned earlier, consumer buying behavior has shifted. Consumer spending. All right. Now, you hear talks of we're going into a recession. You hear talks of we're not going into a recession. We may be going into the recession. We're not going into recession. All right. The reason why you keep hearing that talk, because you got some people looking at one thing, some people looking at the other thing, some people looking at the whole scope. All right. There's something that's keeping the economy going. Money is being spent. Money is being spent. All right. Something's keeping the economy going from diving into a deep recession. That's why it's kind of teetering. Consumer buying behavior has shifted from goods to services. People aren't spending money on goods. All right. So when we talked about peak season and how I talked about product already being where it needed to be, and then we also talked about the other economic side of it, people not spending money. They're just not spending money on goods. They're spending money on services. People are spending money on services, and by people spending more money on services and less money on good, it's keeping the economy afloat to a point where it's tethering. All right, it's tethering. All right, people are not spending money on goods. They're spending more money on services. Your Ubers, your maid services, your whatever other service you can think of. I'm drawing a blank right now. Anything that's a service, all right, people are spending money on it. Lawn upkeep. I know it's the winter time, but let's say lawn upkeep. They're not cutting their own grass, and this goes back to what I talked about. I talked about this a few times. We're living in a very lazy society now. People have the resources to have people do pretty much anything for them at their fingertips by just downloading the app, like going on Thumbtack or going on Hire Helper or going on one of these other apps where, man, I'm lazy. I don't feel like cleaning up today. Let me go on Thumbtack. Okay, let me hire one of these ladies to come clean up. What, 125, 2 hours? Oh, she's available today. Okay, boom. You do the transaction, you message, you get an address. An hour later, the little lady shows up to your door with her little mop bucket or little Swiffer with all the little cleaning products in, and she comes in, Mr. Mark, what do you want me to do, Mr. Mark? Okay, I want you to clean the den, the master bedroom. I need both bathrooms clean. Don't worry about the baseboards. And then they whatever I tell them to do, they do it. Services, something that people can do themselves, people are paying other people to do. People are spending more money on services than goods. All right. So, in order for trucking to turn back around, we talked about imports, we talked about manufacturing, and people have to spend money on things that need to be moved by a truck. All right. You can't move services by a truck. All right. You can move goods by a truck, but not services. All right. So, that pendulum of services to good, it has to swing back on the good side. We need to see an uptick in goods. Services, we should be spending more money on goods than services, guys. So that's one of the main concerns as a trucking, especially if you're running like Amazon, or if you're running middle mile. That's one of those things that you really need to keep an eye on. You need to watch goods versus services. And when I say like services, like I had the chart, but I didn't upload it. Like it's not even close, y'all. It's not even close. And last year, and the year before, like goods was like, like it was way different. Now it's completely shifted. Like goods had services by this much, and now it's completely shifted. People are just spending money on services and less money on goods. Far less money. Far less. All right. So these are the things that are going to change, that need to change in the economy, right? For one, freight volume to pick up. Obviously, if freight volume picks up, the rates are going to pick up, right? Right now, you got a supply of people with trucks, semi trucks, box trucks, whatever, that's scrounging and scrungling and whatever the words I'm looking for is for these loads, that a lot of these loads are just not there. All right. So these are the things that are hindering rates, and they're hindering volume, not because people are taking cheap loads. I hate when people say, stop taking cheap loads. Yo, what do you mean stop taking cheap loads? It doesn't make sense to me, man. It doesn't like that doesn't make sense to me. All right. These are three things that need to change in order for freight to turn around, for you guys to see some better rates. Go ahead and hit that like button for me, guys. Hit that like button. Amazon just announced 18,000 more jobs. Let's get into that. So those are the three things, guys. Let's get into some of these topics or questions that you want. Amazon just announced 18,000 more jobs. So from what I read earlier, it's not 18,000 more. It originally was 10,000. They just upped it 8,000 more. So instead of 10,000, it's 18,000. Yeah, I mean, everybody's laying off right now. I think they got ahead of themselves. I think with that 18, I think it's probably going to be more to come. I think a lot of companies are laying off. A lot of companies just got ahead of themselves during the pandemic. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, it was irresponsible, um, so to speak, on most companies. But and in some cases it wasn't. They had to deal with the demand that was there at the moment. So they did at the cost of the people that are getting fired. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. What now? I know it's on the technology side, but guess what? They've been investing to this technology, Alexa and whatever the other department is for years. All right. If they've been operating at a loss all this time, why? Listen, Amazon makes their money. Listen, let's break this Amazon thing down. You know how Amazon makes its money, guys? Somebody tell me how Amazon really makes its money, and I'll give you a free headset. I gave out some gifts the other day, but everybody traded the gifts back in for the mentorship. I gave $75,000 away Sunday in mentorships. Somebody tell me how Amazon makes its money. I'm gonna give them a headset valued at around $50. All right. And I have it shipped to their home from Amazon. No, not data. How does Amazon make a bulk of its money? AWS is one, but I got something else in mind. It's an easy answer too. I'm gonna give you guys a clue. It's the same exactly. Brian Watkins got it. Subscriptions. Brian Watkins, go ahead and send me message me on Facebook your information, your address, and I'm gonna ship that out to you. It's gonna come from Amazon. I'm gonna buy it from Amazon and send it straight to you, Brian Watkins. But yes, it's subscriptions. Amazon makes this money the same way Netflix makes their money. They make their money off subscriptions. All right. They make their money off subscriptions. All right. So them laying people off, they got ahead of themselves. All right. They got ahead of themselves. People are probably pulling back on their subscription. I haven't did the research on it, but Netflix, all these other companies that are subscription based, when you see subscriptions drop, that's when you see layoffs happen. I could be wrong, you know what I'm saying? But I'm pretty sure subscriptions, they probably saw a decrease in subscriptions. All right. We're in a time right now where people are cutting back on a lot of things. All right. Now, Amazon is a service. It's a service that people use to buy goods. All right. But guess what? Amazon has slowly been increasing that service fee. All right. Same thing with Netflix. A lot of people cut their Netflix. So here it is. Another thing he mentioned, AWS. They make a lot of money with AWS. They got a government contract. 18,000 layoffs to Amazon is just a drop in the bucket for the amount of employees they got. So 18,000 is unfortunate, but really when I look at 18,000 people for Amazon, that really ain't no big thing. That really ain't no big thing, not for Amazon, maybe for another company, but not for Amazon. I wouldn't too much really worry about that. GoShare has a 15-year minimum. Yes, they do. Definitely they don't have nowhere as much overhead either. Exactly. Keep pushing those facts. Bro, love it. Shannon, appreciate you. Social media hype. A lot of social media hype went on. I did that live about a month ago. Biggest live I've ever did. Biggest live. By far, I think it was damn near 200 people watching that. You know why? Because it was the truth. A lot of hype. Social media and trucking, they don't mix well together. Yo. They don't. They don't. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people get caught up in social media. All right. And it's unfortunate that, you have influencers that I don't even want to say they prey on people in the trucking space. I just think I look at them as opportunists. I feel like if you're going to get into the space or any business space, like I always say, you got to do your due diligence. If it's not that influencer, it's going to be a broker. You know what I'm saying? If it's not a broker, you running final mile, it might be the operations manager of the warehouse. I had a situation years ago with this dude um, at Dynamics. The dude just ran. I don't know if I told this story. He just always forgot to pay my company. Just you just forget to pay my company. So we do IKEA. I got 3 trucks running for 5 to 9s, 7 days a week. And you just forget to pay me. So now I gotta float this money. I gotta pay my people who are running these things. Not only did you forget to pay me this period, I caused the fuss, raise hell, and guess what? Think you would have made it right the next pay period? Pay me the back pay and pay me for this pay period. Guess what? Second pay period come, didn't pay me. So now it's not. I know it's not. It's a personal thing. You know what I'm saying? It's a personal thing. So man, man, yeah, like a lot of stories that I tell, a lot of wisdom that I give, a lot of knowledge that I give, it comes from experience. It comes from experience. It comes from me doing this for umpteen years. All right. So social media hype, don't get caught up in social media hype. Do the knowledge, do the facts, find creators, find influencers who bring some sort of value to you. You know what I'm saying? Just don't be following people that just be blowing smoke out their ass. Is it a good time to get into the trucking business? Here's the thing. This is a question that I think is going to be always be asked, and I'm going to always give the same answer. All right. Do your due diligence, exercise extreme caution. All right. Exercise extreme caution, do your research. All right. And now in today's times, you can get something like what people call coaching or mentorship. All right. All right. So, and if you can't afford it, there's a bunch of free content on the internet, but you have to spend your time, all right, looking for it. You got to spend your time looking for it. All right. So a lot of trial and error, right? You can maybe you can probably escape some of the trial and error if you spend time on the internet researching. All right. I always like to compare and contrast these things that entering into the trucking space now versus entering it when I entered into it now, you got pros and you got cons. The pros that you guys have is you have the use of social media, YouTube, things of that nature, where you can dig and find a bunch of free information to kind of help you navigate through that learning curve. The unfortunate side of entering into the space right now is the cost. It's a lot more costlier now than it was when I entered it. Like when I entered, the cost was very, very low, very, very low. It didn't even really affect you. All right, but I learned a lot of things trial and error with hands-on experience. There was no YouTube. YouTube wasn't what you see now back then. All right. There was no social media. There was no Instagram. None of that stuff existed. All right. You would find stuff, where back in 2010, where you would have to go to find information if you did like forums. Forums were the thing back then. You go into a forum, you got to sign up, get accepted into a forum, and then you can ask questions in a forum and hope someone responds to you if you get into a popular forum. All right, things are different now. You can have live interaction, what we're having right now with someone who's been doing this that's tenured. You can ask this question like you asked it right now, and in real time, you can get an answer. You couldn't do that back when I got in. All right, so is now a good time? I think anytime is a good time as long as you do the research, you exercise extreme caution, enter with as minimal cost as possible. Don't go out and sign a contract with a rental truck company for a $1,500 a week rental when you know when you know, and you plan on running middle mile, and you know spot market rates are below cost, and you're a novice. You're a novice. You're entering in at a high cost, and rates are down. You know, so you have to enter exercising extreme caution. You got to enter very inexpensive. Now, hey Mark, how am I going to enter inexpensive when the rates are what they are? Someone sent me a breakdown yesterday of every single truck rental company and their market and the rates. And when I'm telling you ridiculous, to the point where I'm just saying, man, I don't know what to tell you. I damn sure wouldn't go rent no truck. Don't go rent no truck. You know what I'm saying? Buying a truck, a lot of people don't have the resources to buy a truck entering into the space. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to keep it 1,000 with you. Entering into the space right now at the cost that it is, the cost of entry into the space right now, like that trial and error, you know, kind of bump your head and learn as you go that you could do, let's say 8, 9, 5, 6, 7 years ago. Like it's too risky now. It's too much. Back then, the cost was very low. You're talking about renting a box truck for $450 a week, no down payment. And they gave you 1,500 free miles. So, man, you can, man, I messed up Monday and Tuesday, but I got it by Wednesday. Man, you don't got that luxury no more. You don't have that leisure. Like as soon as they give you the truck and you sign up, you have to give them $1,500. $3,500 down payment, $5,000. Some people said $10,000, whatever the down payment. And as soon as you roll off the lot, you got to get to it. You got to get to it. You don't have no room for error. None. $1,500 is a lot of money to rent something for the week. It's a lot of money, man. It's a lot of money. But people thinking like, yo, I can go rent it for $1,500. I could pay 30 cents a mile, right? Because they saw somebody on Instagram or wherever, YouTube, they say, oh, I made $10,000. It's cap, man. It's not true. It is not true. Yeah. So, yeah, man, you can get in right now. Just be very careful. Do your due diligence. Exercise extreme caution. Enter as low as possible. Insurance. Make sure you get you a broker. Find a broker that's going to work with you. If they bring you Progressive, go find you another broker. Plenty of insurance companies out here. When I came on and I broke that Progressive news, man, you know how many testimonials I got? Hey, Mark, thank you, brother. Thank you, man. I was with Progressive, man. This broker thing that you talk about, I ain't know, man. I did what you said, man. I'm saving over $1,000 a month. Hey, Mark, I'm saving $800 a month after I watch your video. Because I was one of the ones that I went and sat down. I was running with Progressive. Man, I went and got a broker, man. They got me with some company called XYZ Insurance, and I'm paying $800 less. Find you a broker. All right. If you can't afford to get a box truck, but if the rental truck is too expensive in your market, maybe consider starting as a cargo van, using that cargo van money to purchase you a box truck. If you don't have the money, here's another thing, guys. Here's another thing too. While we on it, I know I ain't really been on a couple weeks. Listen, it's okay to have hopes and dreams and have plans on entering, but you got to have that money too. If you don't got that money, you got to go get that money. All right. It's just not going to come to you. You know, I be talking to people and they be like, yo, Mark, I want to get in the box, but man, the money, is it a way I can do this to get the money? No, you got to get the money. No one's going to give you money. Stop believing all these fairy tales that these people telling you on the internet about this and that. And like, if you have bad credit, fix your credit, man. I'm going to be the person that's going to tell you, yo, fix your credit. No, you can't get this. No one's going to give you that. No, you got to go out and you got to get it on your own. If you got to start from grassroots, then start from grassroots. Some of the most success stories in the trucking industry start from grassroots. Let's talk about Two Men in a Truck. That's a moving company. 2 men and a truck started as 2 cousins and the mom, or 2 brothers and the mom in college. Grassroots, renting a truck, started a small business, moving business in a small town I think in Michigan. I haven't read the story in some years, so forgive me. All right. Started a small moving company in College Town, rented a truck, and scaled it to what we know today as 2 Men in a Truck. That is a franchised business. You can franchise your own 2 Men in a Truck. Grassroots beginning. Me, started with a Chevy Avalanche. Grassroots. Like, there's no quick express way to the top, or whatever you deem the top is. Wherever you deem the top, there's no express way to get to it. You gotta put that work in. So when I see these guys online starting, now it's this chick I see now, she's following Buddy blueprint. Let me show you how I started my box truck business. Like, her blueprint is the same as Buddy's. She's standing by the Ryder truck. She's saying the same thing verbatim. I'm not going to say her name. Let me show you how I started my box truck business a year and a half ago. Like, yo, that's how they make their money. They make their money by acting. Stop believing that, yo. That's not realistic. Because if it was realistic, every box truck content creator you see that you guys deem as successful, we would be millionaires. We wouldn't be sitting here talking to y'all. I'm not a millionaire. When I grossed $1 million, you know how much I saw of it? 20%. Cost me $800,000 to operate. So as that money was coming in, 90 grand a month, it was going right back out. Why? Because, like I always say, trucking is a very small margin business. It's a small margin. So in order to see $1 million in trucking, you got to be making millions, not a million. Not a million. In order to net $1 million in trucking, you have to be making millions. I think a person, in order to net $1 million in trucking, you got to at least gross about 10. And there's no cap. And guess what? If a person is grossing 10 million and they're netting $1 million, they're not going to be standing on Instagram trying to sell you a course for $7,000. They're going to be in Saint-Tropez, laying up on a hammock with one of them island girls that look Hispanic, with a BBL, with the lip injections. You dig what I'm saying? Let's keep it 1,000. The last thing they're going to be talking about is, let me sell you this. If they netting $1 million, they're going to be somewhere chilling. All right. That little 7,000 ain't going to mean nothing. So, and I'm keeping it 1,000 with you. You making that type of money is going right back out. It is what it is. Nearly 5K per day. What you mean nearly 5K per day? Some of those YouTubers have never been in a box truck and are offering advice on how to start a box truck business. So that just goes to what I always talk about. That goes back to you know, the individuals doing their due diligence. You know, you listen, after you watch a person's content for so long, you should know if their information is valuable or not. Forget if it's valid or not, if it's valuable or not. Here's the thing. If they never was in a box truck, but they got valuable information, whether, let's say, they're a fly on the wall, or let's say their father owned a trucking company and they were a fly on the wall for years and they just know the industry and never been, you may be able to see some type of value. But here's the thing. A lot of people are taking information from people who, like you said, have never been into it. They just see an opportunity. They're opportunists. They go on Google Trends, they see box truck business, or they see semi-truck business, trucking business, freight business, anything centered around trucking, right? It's trending high. So they're what they do is they go create content from it. I already didn't drop the sauce. They go to Fiverr, they pay $5, $10 to the Nigerians or to the Pakistanians. They get the course, 2-3 days, they repackage it with their branding, and then they sell it to you for $800, $1,000. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and there's people that's gonna. I had a lady come to me for a coaching probably like 4 or 5 months ago for Final Mile coaching. She said, "Yeah, I got some ladies course and did some mentorship with her, And then I seen your videos on Final Mount, and what you saying totally contradicts everything she's saying. But the stuff you saying seem like it makes a lot more sense, because even when I went to the coaching session with her, a lot of stuff she was saying, I could just find 2 guys and we can do Home Depot contracts, and you could just pay the guys $80. I said, ma'am, who's gonna come lift appliances for 10 to 12 hours a day for $80? She said, that's what I was saying. I said, ma'am, that person who you was going to see, I don't think that lady has ever did Final Mile. One, she's a lady. So, and I'm not like if sexist is the word or something, but listen, women can't do Final Mile when it comes to appliance delivery. A woman ain't finna put a hump strap on a refrigerator, throw that hump strap around that thing, tie it, arch over, and go up them stairs with it on their back. Women aren't physically capable of doing that type of work. So, and I'm not saying she don't know, but here's the thing. She don't know because this shit not making sense. You're not going to find nobody to do this type of work for $80 a day. I know, man. That's what I'm saying. A lot of other things she was saying. So here's somebody who done went and downloaded a course off of Fiverr for $5 to $10 and then created an Instagram. And I told y'all what to do when I did the scamming live a few months ago. I showed you how to go look for these people. When you go to their Instagram, just scroll. Just keep scrolling. Keep scrolling. Keep scrolling. What you going to do if it's a black Instagram influencer and trucking, right? This is what you do. I'm putting them on blast. I don't care what they're going to do to me, right? You just keep scrolling. Boom. Scroll, scroll, scroll. So if they black, you know most of their followers are going to be black. Just keep scrolling, scrolling. Boom. When you start seeing all these Pakistanians and Indians, man, wait a minute. Hold on. How you got 7,000, 8,000 followers? And I did 3 big swipes and everybody was black, but not everybody Pakistani. And then when you start clicking on these people's profiles, they got 3 pictures, 1 name, 3 pictures. Click on the next one, 3 pictures, 1 name, because they bought those followers. They made their social media presence. They made their social media presence make them look bigger than what they are. So now when a helpless, lowly soul who's looking to get into the trucking space goes and finds their page and they see them, let me show you how I made XYZ and trucking and da 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 da, and then, man, you know what? Yeah, I like what he talking. He positive. He talking about God and the Lord and da 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 da. You get bought. You fall for that. You fall for the okie doke because you didn't do the research. Me, I see somebody with that mean follow, I'm swiping. Yep. Here they go. Look at all these Pakistanis because they bought them. They bought these followers. That's the trick, y'all. Look at some of these guys with all these followers. Just scroll. Keep scrolling. I guarantee you, once you scroll so much, you're going to start seeing a bunch of Pakistani, because that's who is building and selling these subscribers. When you go to these websites, those coders over in Pakistan, they're selling these subscribers. When you buy them for $2.99 or whatever it is, and you get 10,000 for $5, and they take all these profiles, these made up profiles, and then they just put them in there. But you know, if you lazy and you don't swipe enough, then you never know. All right. And then you go buy this mentorship from a person who don't know what the hell they talking about. And then you come to me, or you go to another person and be like, man, I bought this. And the man didn't know what they was talking about. And then I show you, all right, let's go. Who you get it from? And then we go this one. All right, let's go. You on your phone right now? Go to social media. All right, go to Instagram. Now do me a favor. Click friends, followers. All right, now swipe it. Swipe it again. Swipe it again. Swipe it again. You see all these Indians? Yeah. Damn, Mark. Damn, Mark. Keep swiping. Yeah. So about 8,000 followers, 7,500 of them is fake profiles. How is it that the Instagram following is bigger than the YouTube following? These are things that, you know, people should look at. You know, do your due diligence. You know, do your due diligence. Stop being scammed by these folks, man. Let's see here. Y'all will barely get somebody to do it for 200 to 300 per day. Them sub zeros will break you, man. They get gross and net totally confused. A lot of people get gross and net totally confused. A lot of people still don't know how to pay themselves. A lot of people, and this is just in trucking period, a lot of people just don't know what it costs them to run. These are things that you need to know. You know, initially getting into the business, you need to know what it costs you to operate. I think a lot of people get into trouble because they look at this big number, especially middle mile guys. They look at this big number when they look on the load board and they see this number and then they accept it, but they're not realizing that, you know, that number really means nothing if you don't know what it's costing you to run. They just look at the number. Oh, this pays. Oh, I'm going from Chicago to California, 3,500. I'm taking that. Don't know what it costs them to run, you know. So inexperience, you know, being a novice, it actually truly most everything. You are not a millionaire until you make multiple millions. Definitely not a millionaire until you make multiple millions. I think in order to be considered a millionaire, you need to net it. 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 Buy or rent to start. I just answered. Well, me honestly, in this current market, looking at these rental rates, probably buy. And I know that's kind of difficult to say because you know you may not have the funding to buy a truck, or maybe you do. But renting in today's time, you know, at a point, at a time, renting was a good tool to get you to the next level. You could use a rental truck. I used rental trucks to get me to the next level to start buying trucks. But rental rates now aren't at that point where you can utilize them as a tool to get to the next point. Rental rates now, you know, can actually put you out of business. They can break you. You know, $1,500, and 1,500 is a number I'm using because that's about the average right now for a lot of rentals. $1,500 is a lot. You know what I'm saying? You got average person's probably grossing, you know, 25, 3,000 a week, if that. All right. So now if you're running at 1,500 for the rental, all right, plus all your other fixed costs you got to add in there, plus your variable costs, you may be barely breaking even. You may be operating at a loss. It's just not enough, you know, room to profit. Just not enough room to profit. So if you're in a position where you can buy a truck in today's uh trucking economy, I think buying a truck now is the better play because the rental market is no longer, you can no longer look at it as that tool, as a stepping stone to make money, build your business, put money to the side to ultimately buy your truck. It's just no room to even, people aren't making money, so there's damn near no margin to make money and put money to the side to eventually buy your own truck. So if you're able to buy your own truck, I would say buy your own truck. Exposing them to the fullest, you can tell their employer if you just like a post, they jumping into your DM trying to scam you. And that's what it is, guys. So, you know, if people are really here to help, you know, they're here to help. So that was another reason why I did what I did Sunday. I'm really here to help. You know, it takes time out of my day. It costs money, right? My price tag is my price tag, and it's valued at 75 grand. 15 people. Do the math. All right. People can charge 10,000. People can charge 20,000. Mark can put a $5,000 valuation on his product, right? Because a product valuation on a product is what a person is willing to pay for. Except Mark is not charging anybody for anything. Mark is going to give it to you for free, but Mark is paying for it because it's Mark's time, and this is what my time is worth for that. All right, so that's $75,000 in value that I'm giving out, and I'm challenging every major trucking content creator in this space to at least, you don't have to do what Mark does. All right. Mark giving out the whole shebang. Mark don't want no money. But if you do have a program and you're going to open it up, all right, I'm asking and I'm challenging. I challenge Big Vic, somebody tag him. Next time you open it up, I challenge you, just one person. If you open it up for 10 people, I'm asking you to just sponsor one person. And then in return, I'm asking you to challenge the next person. He'll probably go, now that person who somebody mentioned earlier, that would be up for him to make that challenge for them. Or, you know, or somebody else. That's neither here nor there. But me personally, I'm gonna go after the person who got the biggest following, and it would be him. So that's who I'm challenging. And it's friendly. You don't have to do it. You dig what I'm saying? But I think this is a great way to start the new year off, to change not the sentiment, but like we need to, instead of complaining, like people are complaining. I'm not complaining. People come to me complain. People come to me. I'm not going to go after these people, right? Because I don't think what they're doing, to me personally, what they're doing, it sucks. But at the end of the day, it's going to happen. It happens in every business. You're going to have opportunists. All right. I'm not calling people suckers. And I always say this, not everybody, some people are just they just don't know no better. Not everybody grew up in New York. Not everybody grew up in LA. Not everybody grew up in Chicago. Not everybody grew up in a big city where they just don't see the scam being played on them. Not everybody is cut like that. Some people just don't know no better. They think everybody is out. They think everybody is their friend. All right. So I'm just gonna help people out. It is what it is, and I'm challenging everybody else to at least help out at least one person, and that's how we're gonna roll. We're gonna see who do it and who don't. So Mark, how do you manage your company for first year? Do you pay a bookkeeper, a CPA, or did you manage everything on your own first year? So the way I did it, CPA. All right. So when you're running a fleet of trucks and a multitude of employees, that's not something that you can do with QuickBooks. All right. So we did it in-house, right? And then, all right. So the way I do it is everything that comes in, it comes in through the business bank account. So accounts receivable comes in, right? Accounts payable goes out. One bank account, one business debit card, right? And then the business credit cards, right, are paid through that same bank account. All right. So the way it happens with the CPA, every month, to make it easy for the CPA, we just download that file, that CSV file, and just forward it to the company. All right. So if you're operating as a sole individual, let's say you're your own sole owner operator, you might not want to pay that expense. All right. To pay a CPA cost me $250 a month. All right. So it may be different depending on who you pay. It may be different depending on at what point you scale up, how many people. Obviously, the more people, the more money. If it's just you and your truck, I suggest downloading a software, whether it's QuickBooks, Quicken, one of those softwares, and you can manage your accounts receivable or your accounts payable within that program yourself. And then when tax time comes around, it's automatically calculating that stuff as well. And that subscription is going to be a lot less cheaper than having a CPA do it for you. So as a sole owner operator, I think QuickBooks will be fine. If you want to pay a CPA, then that's fine as well. Obviously, as you start scaling, if scaling is your plan, once you get to a certain point, you're going to have to hire a CPA to do that for you. I wouldn't suggest you doing it on your own. You think the 26-foot rims will go back to pre-pandemic prices? Enterprise lot down the road carries at least 5 to 7 trucks consistently. November cargo vans 0. When you say pre-pandemic, I'm gonna look at pre-pandemic from what we used to get them for. 450? No, I don't think so. I think over time, cost of living goes up. So eventually with inflation, things are gonna go up. All right. I don't think they're gonna go back down to like 450, 500. If they do go back down, you may be looking like 750 maybe as the new norm. $100 a day at least. Like less than $100 a day is just not. I just can't fathom that in 2023 after everything we went through in the past 3 years. So I would say at about a range of about $100 to $150 a day. So 750, I'm going to say, would probably be the new norm if trucks went down. Mileage, the average right now, I'm seeing what people telling me they're paying is like 29 cents to 35 cents a mile. that 10 cent a mile, 12 cent a mile, I don't think you'll ever see that again. If it does go back down, maybe 19 cent, 20 cent, 22 cent, something like that. But that was $450, $500, 1,000, 1,500 miles included. I don't think we're gonna ever see those days again. Everything that glitters ain't gold definitely is not. A person physically and mentally cannot do it alone if you run a business that's making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about who I think you're talking about, I don't know the inner workings of people's business, but definitely if you're making that type of money, that's not an operation, that's making that type of money that uh uh can be operated on its own. It's just not possible. You're dealing with um drivers, which is people, you're dealing with personalities, you're dealing with the actual company. So let's say you're running Amazon, you're running a multitude of trucks for Amazon, you're dealing with the Amazon, you're dealing with the routes, you're dealing with the people, you're dealing with the trucks. You're planning ahead for the next day, you're planning ahead for the next week. It's just too much for one person to handle. So you're absolutely correct. I appreciate the info because that's been my thing. I'm solo and learning the business side of the industry. I'm paying myself as an employee. Do Q do QB until I scale up. Yeah, I'm solo and learning the business side of the industry. I'm paying myself as an employee. Yeah, so yeah, as long as you're paying yourself, that's good. You are an employee of your business. And that's just another thing that I tell people, like, yo, treat yourself as an employee of the business. One thing my CPA told me when I was first getting started, and I was in my CPA's office when he was setting me up when you structure my business. That's another thing, guys. Don't ever pay a CPA to structure your business. My CPA, great guy. If anybody needs a CPA, and you're in my city, my state, I can refer you to my great guy. But here's the thing: I paid my CPA $750 to structure my business back then because I just didn't know any better. I didn't know I could go to IllinoisCyberDrive.com and do it myself for $150. All right. So you know, getting back to the story, when I went to my CPA's office when he structured my business, and we was doing the articles of incorporation, and I noticed he put president down. I said, well, man, I ain't the CEO. He said, no, you never want to be the CEO. He said, you never want to be the CEO. Always put yourself as the president. Always put yourself as the president. You're an employee for the business. If anything goes down, you're a separate entity. Never be the chief executive officer. Always, every business I've ever ran, ever since then, I've always put myself as the president. I am an employee for the business. All right. The business, I'm the biggest shareholder, but I'm still an employee. The business is a separate entity. The business pays me. All right. The business pays me. If the business decides to lease a luxury vehicle, by me being the president of the business, I get a take home vehicle. That's how it looks. That's how it, I look at it. I get the perks of being the president of the business. This is a company car. Mark doesn't own this 7 Series BMW. All right. Mark doesn't own this. This is the company's vehicle, and the company is allowing me to drive it. That's how I look at it. Everything the business does, is separate from me. I'm just a high paid employee. I always looked at myself as a handsomely paid employee for the business. And when things do arise, structuring your business like this will protect you in case anything arises down the line. Lawsuits, Mark was never included. The company was, but Mark never was included in any such thing because my business was structured as such. So yeah, pay yourself. Make sure you pay yourself. As long as you know how to pay yourself, that's a good thing because a lot of people don't know how to pay themselves. I talk about this all the time. After all fixed and variable costs are paid for the week, people look at this amount that's left and they think that's what they get paid, and that's not what you get paid. People don't understand about cash flow. Sustainability of the business. You know what I'm saying? You got to pay yourself. Okay, you gross 5,000 for the week, and after everything is paid, your fixed and your variable costs cost you $4,000 to operate that week. You got $1,000 left. Okay, well, I made $1,000. No, you did not. No, you did not. You got to pay yourself. Well, like I said, well, it's my business. No, you got to pay yourself. All right. So out of that 1,000, you're gonna pay yourself 5. You're gonna leave 5 in the business. Why? The business has to have money. It has to sustain itself. You're robbing from the sustainability of the business if you pay yourself the full thing. Business needs cash flow to run. Boom, truck breaks down next week. You don't have money. I was watching a live earlier. Kurt, he was talking about people going out of business recently or whatever because their transmission went out, or this went out, that went out. You know why? They give up when these things happen because they've been robbing from the sustainability of their business the whole time because they don't have any cash flow. Some weeks you may not have no money to pay yourself. If you run and you gross 5,000 that week and it costs you $4,000 to run that week, but you know how, guess what? You got to fuel up for the next week. How much did you spend on fuel this week? All right, so man, $1,000, shit, you really don't have no money to pay yourself in this space. If you running a truck, $1,000 ain't no money. And $1,000 ain't no money. So that might be one of them weeks where you got to take an L. You can't pay yourself that week. Boss man, you want to be a business owner? Welcome to business. The business owner is the last person to get paid. So just because it's $1,000 left in the pot, guess what? The business gets paid before you do, pimp. You see what I'm saying? So, because guess what? The truck might break down. You might be traveling from Chicago to Dallas. You didn't hit Arkansas. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. You on 30, 35, 40, whatever that road is. It's pitch black out there. The truck clunks out. Guess what? You're 50, 60 miles from the nearest town and you loaded. Hillbilly Jim gonna come tell you got a straw and toothpick hanging out his mouth. He gonna look at you up and down. He gonna tell you $1,000. That may not be the rate, but guess what? He telling you 1,000. He may be racist, but guess what? You in a situation you ain't got time to argue with him. You in the middle of the road, and it's the pitch black and it's the night. You gonna have to come up off that thou wow. It is what it is. Guess what? But you don't have it. Why? Because you've been paying yourself instead of paying the business. You've been robbing from the sustainability of the business. The business does not have any cash flow. You know, so it is what it is, man. It is what it is, man. Oh, I only know you. I don't watch him. Ask. Let me see. Okay, I said I appreciate it for. So true. In the beginning, I ran my truck for weeks without paying myself. You know, and you know, this is something and something that I see a lot of when I talk to people and I correct them. You know, I correct them. You got to pay yourself. If you never ran a business, I can understand why a person wouldn't know this information, you know, and that's why I correct people. You got to make sure, guys, and this is something I know a lot of you guys that watch my content, watch my lives, you hear me repeat all the time, but you know, as new people find the channel, there's always going to be people exiting, and as people are exiting, there's going to be new people entering, and these new people that are entering, these are just things that they don't know. You know, you got to pay yourself. You got to pay yourself. The business and you are two different entities. You're two different entities. What's left is not your money. Is not your money. $1,000, $1,500 is, listen, it's really not enough for you to pay yourself. It's not. Anything can happen. You got to pay the business. The business comes before you. You want to be the boss. You want to be this whole boss culture, right? Entrepreneur culture. This is what it takes to be a boss. You're not a boss till you take a loss. And guess what? The boss is the last person to get paid. And there's going to be plenty of weeks that you don't get paid. All right. It's going to be plenty of weeks that you don't get paid. You got to stop robbing from the sustainability of the business. The business needs cash flow to operate. It needs cash flow, guys. All right. Some of those YouTubers never been a boss. Try to answer that one. What up, though? Heavy Goody? What's going on? Can I start a box truck business with 15K? You can. You can. You're gonna need some money, some cash flow to float you. There's gonna be a learning curve there. I don't know what is gonna, 15K is it possible to start 15K? Yeah. I'm trying to think. At the current rental rates, All right, so basically with 15K, obviously you would be renting a truck. You wouldn't be buying a truck. All right, so with 15K up and running, depending on who you go and what the down payment they require after everything is said and done, you may have some money left over to float you, but that little money that you got left over, it ain't gonna last you long. So like that learning curve that you got to go through, 15K may not be enough money in today's climate of this trucking space to see you through that learning curve. I would say probably 20, 25 to be comfortable. And that's just the honest to God truth, because especially if like you decide to run middle mile, you're probably going to have to pay somebody for some type of coaching or some mentorship, all right, to kind of help, you kind of navigate through that learning curve a little bit. Because if you don't, what's going to happen is you're going to make the same mistakes a lot of other people do. You're going to go on that board and you're just going to start looking at these thousands booking loads, and you're not knowing what it costs to operate your truck because you never operated a truck before. So you don't know the formula of calculating your cost per mile. And you're not going to really know that until you get out there. You know what I'm saying? That first week. And you're going to look at these big numbers on the load board, and you're going to pick a load because it's a big number, and you're going to run, and then you're going to try to figure out why you're not making no money. So 15K in today's climate, I don't think is, and I think you can get it up and going, but I don't think once you get up and going, it's not going to be too much money left to have a cushion to see you through that learning phase. So like he's saying, definitely got to have some capital. I think long are the days of trial and error, bumping your head, figuring it out. It's just too costly now to enter into the space. Like those 450 days that I talk about to rent a 26-foot box truck, $450, $500, and then includes 1,000, 1,500 free miles. You can trial and error yourself to death at those costs. With $1,500, $1,800, 29 cents a mile, you don't have that. You don't have that room. You don't have that margin to make those types of mistakes nowadays. It's unfortunate, but this is the landscape. This is the playing field right now. Things change over time. Things change. Nothing is easy as it was back in the day. It was easy back in the day to do a lot of things. And as time goes on, it gets harder. As a lot of people are interested into this space now. Things happen in the economy, things happen in the world that shifted the landscape of the cost of entry into this business. So now you have to enter into this space ready to roll. And you got to have somebody holding your hand. Just make sure you got the right person holding your hand. And when we talk about, not getting scammed and things like that, it's okay to have someone hold your hand, even if it costs you a little bit of money. You just have to make sure it's the right person holding your hand. What the issue a lot of people have had is they've been paying the wrong people to hold their hand. You know what I'm saying? They've been paying the wrong people to hold their hand, and they haven't did the little due diligence. And the little due diligence is just going to Instagram and scrolling up a few swipes. All right. Listen, it's hard to get thousands of followers on Instagram. So if a person got thousands and thousands and thousands of followers, you got to make sure it's not cap. I'm giving you the sauce of how to know it's cap or not. So you just looking and you ain't doing the due diligence, and then you spend all this money, and then it was a course that was ABC 1, 2, 3, real elementary, kindergartenish, and you feel like you didn't get the value. That's on you. Because then you come to me and you complain. I'm gonna go straight back to the Instagram with you and swipe up, and then we're gonna see a bunch of Pakistanians. And then I don't know what to tell you at that point. So yeah. Let's see. So in other words, it's best to buy a truck. I answered that. Where do we buy a 26-foot used truck? I live in Houston. You can go on Penske Used Trucks. You can go on Commercial Truck Trader. You can go on Facebook Marketplace. You can go on OfferUp. There's plenty of places you can buy a 26-foot box truck. I think your first go around, if you don't have like a mechanic that you know. I think your first go around, you may want to buy something that's like comes from a reputable place. So you might want to go to like a truck center, or you may want to go to a like Penske. Then they have level 1, level 2, level 3 trucks, and you can have some type of some type of assurance. Buying a truck, especially a used truck, um, it can be a little nerve-wracking, especially your first crack at it, because you're buying a used truck, you're buying a used work truck, so you know it's been worked before you. You don't know how hard somebody worked it and how they took care of it. So I can understand it was like that for me. The first truck I bought, uh, that's why I recommend it. If it's your first go around, you might want to buy it from a reputable place. That way you have some type of assurance that unless you have someone that can go with you, that's knowledgeable and diagnosing it while it's there on the spot, then you may be able to buy it from a private owner or something like that. Fulfillment center. Hey, Brian Watkins, make sure you hit me on my Facebook so I can send you that prize. All right, any questions, guys? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Let me see. I'm gonna scroll back up. What do you think about the electric box truck to run one? All right, so I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I don't know. All right. All right. So I don't know. I don't and this is speaking from a person who drives a Tesla. All right. So in my market, all right, it gets cold here. All right. If I had a choice if I was on the market right now for an electric van or an electric truck versus a gas, I would choose gas. Um, Driving a Tesla, the weather has an impact on that battery life. All right, this is what they don't tell you when you purchase an electric vehicle. All right, when it got cold here, that battery dies as you're driving it. That cold kills that battery even faster. All right, so I haven't really checked the range on some of these electric truck and van makers. But I would, if I were buying electric work vehicles, I would have range anxiety putting those vehicles out, because one, the network of charging stations is not where it needs to be, even for electric vehicles, especially in my market. Especially in my market. So if I was one of those guys who was running a truck over the road, I would have range anxiety knowing I got to drive out over the road. I got to map out charging stations that are adequate for an electric truck. All right. So I think maybe down the line, it may be something I may think more positively about, but have experience driving an electric vehicle um, for personal versus work. The network isn't there yet. So I think in order for it to be more successful, if I were to look to purchase one, I need to see the network a little bit better, especially on the roads if I was running trucks long distance. Me personally, if I was to buy a truck right now, or a van, it would still be gas powered. I wouldn't buy an electric box truck right now. Nothing to do with the trucks. So I don't want you to get it confused. Nothing to do with the trucks. It's the network of charging stations. It's just not where it needs to be yet. It's just not there. And then they need a network of commercial charging stations. You don't see that. Like, box trucks it's gonna be hard to pull up to an EV Go or charge point with a box truck. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a van, yeah, you can get away with it, but a bigger truck, like a 26 footer or something like that, especially, obviously you're gonna have charging, I would assume, at your home base, right? But if that's a level 1 charger, it's 15 to 18 hours on a level 1 charge for a Tesla or a Kia EV6 or another electric car. Level 2 is taking you about 7 hours. All right? So you can't have a supercharger at the crib at your home base, right? So you got to go to a supercharging station, and ain't no supercharging stations that I've come across that are equipped for commercial vehicles. So I think in order for like me to be interested in purchasing an electric commercial truck, I think the network of commercial charging stations has to get built out, and I don't see any. I don't see any. And then, like, how long is it going to take to charge? What's the range on a box truck? That's something I haven't researched yet. I got to look into it. I think the network needs to be better. I think the network needs to be better. Let me see what else. Detroit in the building. What up, Mark? Thanks for the nods you give. If I have a new business, where could you lead me so I can find a contract as owner operator, and also what rental company would be good to rent a box truck? I don't know if you heard my spiel on box trucks. I wouldn't recommend renting a box truck. I wouldn't recommend renting a box truck. I wouldn't recommend renting a box truck right now. What if you have a new business, where could you lead me so that I can find a contract as an owner operator? Contracts are going to be more towards final mile. You run a middle mile with a box truck, you're running pretty much spot market, load board, or you're running Amazon. A lot of people get sold this dream from other people. So you get a box truck, you can go run for Lowe's, or you can go run for not Amazon. You can go run for Home Depot, or you can go run for Walmart. No, I'm not going to give you a contract. You 26-foot box truck, you're running spot market, middle mile, load board. You want contract, you want dedicated, more final mile, needs another man, heavy lifting. There's something called curbside final mile, which does only requires one man because everything is palletized. Now that's dedicated. You can find some curbside one man dedicated work. It's going to be a little bit more limited than your big and bulky 2-man final mile, but those opportunities out there, you just have to go look for them. You got opportunities like that with XPO, RXO, TQL, T-Force, RNL carriers, and a few others. These opportunities aren't highly promoted, but they do exist. So that's where you're going to go if you want something more dedicated Monday through Friday with a guaranteed rate. You want to look into what's called curbside final mile. Shannon Roseboro, peace and blessings to you as well. Can you speak a little on working capital? Net 30 payments will put you in a hole. Working capital. All right. So net 30. If you're running a business, let's say you run a middle mile and it's a net 30, you're probably gonna have to factor. Now, final mile, I only ran one contract that was net 30 initially. No, it was actually net 45. I talked about this. This was my last Mentors podcast 2 or 3 weeks ago when I talked about cross docking. You're right. If you're going to run a contract with net 30, you need to have a infusion of capital to float you for that initial net 30, which will probably be net 60. So if you're running net 30, you're starting a contract initially with a net 30. Your first 30 days you're working, boom, when that 30 days is up, you don't get paid. Then that next 30 days, so that 60 day, you would get paid for those first 30 days because you working it's on a net 30, and then it's a 30-day hold because it goes through processing and accounting. So initially, if you're running a contract that's a net 30, you're not going to get paid to your first 60 days. And then after that, you'll get paid every 30 days after that. I think it works for a company if you have the capital to float. If you're running a company and you're dealing with a contract that's net 30 in you, or net 45 in you, or net 60 in you, and you don't have the capital, then you gotta factor. Most of the companies most of the contracts that a lot of sole owner operators run, when they're running the low boards, things of that nature, they're going to factor themselves out. If you run in final mile, not a lot of final mile companies do net 30 because they understand that the owner operator needs that capital to continue to run for them. So they pay you weekly or bi-weekly. But it can put you in the hole, but that just goes to being a business person. If like when I talked about those government grants, what a lot of people don't understand, I get asked a lot about government grants. And this is one of the things when I put out that video, I kind of regret putting out that video. I put it out to let people know that uh opportunities do exist for minority businesses, right? But when you're going after these municipal contracts, um, especially when you're dealing with the government, you're dealing with the state, when you're dealing with the city, they just don't pay you like XPO or Amazon. They're not going to pay you every week. If you get a city contract or a municipality, municipal contract, they're going to pay you 4 times a year, once every quarter. So January through March is Q1. All right, March 31st ends Q1. You're going to get that check for the first quarter of that year around April 30th or May 1st, right? Because March 31st ends that quarter. It got to go through processing. That takes about 30 days, and then they'll probably cut you that check April 30th or May 1st. A lot of people don't understand when you're dealing with these MBEs and a lot of these municipality contracts, this is how you get paid. I think, if you're a good business person, you understand that. So you're going to have enough resources, you're going to have enough capital on hand to float you um, through that time period. That's why when you see a lot of companies bid, like when you see a lot of these construction contracts, when they go to the big companies. The big companies got the millions of dollars to float it until they get paid. If you're in a situation where you can factor, then it may be best to factor. Working capital, I don't suggest. I know I was talking to somebody the other day and they were asking me about should they get a loan for the business. If your business is already in a decline and you're already underwater, getting a loan is just going to put you further underwater. I think if you're getting into business initially, you want to start out with probably some business credit cards. All right, something a little bit more safer, or maybe a small business line of credit. All right, because what happens is if you're able to get a loan, and what's going to happen is you're going to get a hard money loan. You're going to get a hard money loan. Why are you going to get a hard money loan? Because guess what? You ain't tenured enough to get a soft money loan. So you're going to go find a hard money lender because you only been in business a year or 6 months, and they're going to loan you money, and your collateral is going to be your future receivables. Your future receivables is going to be your collateral. All right. So they're going to give you a high ass interest rate. All right. And then it's going to be hard for you to come from under that. So I think credit cards and a small business line of credit. Now, if you're taking on something that may be too big, here's another way people get in trouble. They take on things that may be too big for them to handle. It's okay to say no. Some opportunities ain't always great, or they just may not be at the right time for you. I've had opportunities that have come to me that I told the people I was capable of doing, but I had the money to get it going. All right. I didn't have the resources as far as what they were looking for, but I had the money to get the resources, and I told them, yeah, I got them, got the contract or whatever, and went out and got the resources. All right. But then there was some things that have come across my desk in the past where like that Amazon DSP, I did the video about it. Amazon wanted me up and running in 30 days. 30 days. And that was what you call a net 45. They weren't going to pay me for the first 45 days. 20 vehicles, right? 20 vehicles. All right. My operation cost was going to be 6 figures a month. All right. This is something I was going to have to float for 45 days. You see what I'm saying? And the things that they wanted me to do, and when I was crunching the numbers, it wasn't worth it. And that's why I exited halfway through the onboarding process. And it's not something I regret. I do not regret it to this day. So some things are just, I think some people get into things that are just more than they can handle. I don't recommend going and getting a loan if you're already underwater. I think starting out initially with a nice amount of money, maybe a credit card or two, business credit card or two, and if possible, a small line of business credit, something that's revolving. They gave ABC Trucking. You got ABC Trucking. You got a small line of business credit. When I say small, I mean small, 10 grand. Boom. You got 10 grand sitting here. So boom, if you are operating in a loss in this current economy, all right, and you're not paying yourself, but you're making enough just to pay the bills, you're operating not at a loss. Let's say you're breaking even every week, and then you hit a breakdown. You got this business line of credit that's sitting over here, right? That's revolving, that you haven't touched for a situation like this. It's going to cost you $1,500 to get your truck fixed, right? Boom. You go take $1,500 from the business line of credit. All right. Now you still have that $8,500 you can touch. You go take that $1,500 from the business line of credit. You get your truck fixed. You keep rolling. And as you make money, you replace that 1,500. Even if you do it in small gibbles. Okay, I can put 250 back in, 500, right? 500. Now I put that 500 back in. My revolving business line credit is now back up to 9. So I replaced 5, right? It's back up to 9, right? But I still got that 1,000 that I owe. The next week I send another 5. So now it's back up to 95. And another week I send another 5. Now it's back up to 10,000. I got the full line. That way you got money as you need it, and you don't have to go apply for a loan. I think business line of credit is the safe way, as long as you don't abuse it. Net 30s, if you're not in a position to operate a contract that's a net 30 and factoring is not an option, it may just be one of those situations where that contract may not be suitable for you if you don't have the capital to run that contract. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. We'll go and look. All right. Hey, Mark, I'm really learning a lot about this business from you. I'm really looking at buying an MB Sprinter. How would you compare the Ford 2500 ProMaster versus the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter? I appreciate you. Me personally, I'm always going to look for what's going to save money. I'm not a big fan of the Ram ProMaster. My lean would be between the Benz and the Transit. Ultimately, I know the Transit would probably be the choice, because you're going to save a little bit, not too much money, but you're going to save a little bit of money on the Transit at the point of purchase, and you're going to save money down the line when it comes to maintenance, because obviously it's cheaper to maintain a Ford than a Mercedes Benz when you go to the dealership. So I'm looking at the current savings plus down the line. So ultimately, I know I would lean with the Transit, unless I just got a really good deal up front for a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter, that it was just too good to be true. Diagnose check ran out with the mechanic, everything looks good. Then I would probably jump on the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter that way and just worry about the maintenance, higher cost of maintenance down the line. I would go for the good bargain at the point of purchase up front. But if I'm weighing the two, then probably go Transit, because you're gonna save some money up front and down the line. So that's where I would go with it. Pretty much the same truck. It's spec'd out pretty much the same. But down the line, your maintenance is probably gonna be a little bit cheaper. How can I get into the sponsorship? I got the money about to get a van or box. How can I reach out to you? I have experience also. So I don't do mentorship. I opened a mentorship up Sunday and I closed it Sunday. I sponsored everybody. I gotta go through this 4-week mentorship with the people that I'm sponsoring. This first go around, depending on how this goes, would depend on if I open it up again. If I do open it up again, it's going to be free again. I'm not going to announce it. It's not going to be something that I'm going to look to drive traffic from, look to get subscribers from. Hey guys, April 1st, I'm opening back up my free mentorship. It's $5,000 and I'm giving it to you for free. I'm taking 10 people. That's $50,000 worth of free mentorships. Make sure you're on my live April 1st. I'm not going to do that. That's just not who I am. I'm not looking to gain any promotion or whatever from it. It's not going to happen. It's just going to be one of those days that once this one starts and closes, if I decide to do it again one day, I might be on live and I say, man, it's open. I'm taking this many people. Answer this question, whatever the qualifications for me to accept you, and then it's going to be it. It's going to be one of those situations where if you're there, you're there. It doesn't mean you got to watch me every time to see if I'm going to do it again. I may not do it again because I don't know how this one is going to go. It may take up too much of my time that I don't have, but I've already committed to it, so I'm going to do this one. But if I do it again, it's just going to be the same way I announced this one. It's going to be not promoted. It's just going to happen. If you're there, you're there. Anything that I do where I'm giving away something, if it's like a box truck trivia night where I'm giving out headphones, ear sets, seat cushions, ratchet straps, things that people can utilize on their truck, then yeah, I'll promote that. Yeah, we're having box truck trivia night, cash and prize. I'm cash apping you money prizes, but I'm giving something valued at that high of a value. Even if I say, I'm giving away a box truck, I'm not going to promote it. If we document the process, we fly somebody out here to pick it up. We go through it. The day I announce it is going to happen that day on that live, and whatever you need to do to win it that day is going to happen spur of the moment that day. All right, and that's just going to be that. It's not going to be something that I promote. So my advice to you is, I got plenty of content, catalog of content you can go back and watch. I do lives a couple times a week. A lot of valuable information here on the lives. I also do coaching. You can always sign up for a coaching session on my website, www.boxtruckcourses.com. Very affordable coaching. Other than that, the sponsorship open and closed is over with. So we're going to deal with those 15 people and we're going to see how it go from there, man. If it opens back up, just stay tuned. Stay tuned. All right, let's see. About to purchase a GMC cab over 16-foot box with a lift to go OTR. Learn a lot from you and others ready to take the leap. Been in the industry for over 10 years, but as a driver, not OTR. All right, so before you do that, I want to give you a bit of advice. Really do your due diligence, and I want you to do some homework. I want you to do some mock runs, in your head or on paper, whatever, between a 16-footer and a 26-footer OTR. All right. I think, you really need to think this through if you're going to purchase a 16-footer to run OTR. All right. Really think this through and make sure it's worth it. All right. You're limited. You can only run partials. You're limited on space. You're even more limited than a 26-footer. All right. So you got to make sure it's worth your while. So really do the research, really do the due diligence before you go out and purchase that truck to do OTR. All right. But other than that, I wish you the best of luck. Just make sure you do some due diligence and before you go out and do that. Let me go back up to some of these questions. Let me see here. Do you dispatching, my brother? Loving your content, just become a subscriber. No, I don't do dispatching. Never have, never will. Not my type of money. Don't have the time. Just not my thing. But I can tell you this though. I can tell you this. If you're running a truck, you can dispatch yourself. Dispatchers don't like when I say that. But you can dispatch yourself. That 10%, you can keep that in your pocket. Change it. Challenge trucking out the box. I think I answered that one already. Let's see. Thanks for the blessing. Shout out to everybody who won that mentorship the other night. Shout out to everybody who won that mentorship. Can't wait to work with you guys. Coming up on some dates. I'm working on the dates now. I'm going to try to do it in the next few weeks. Actually, I came up with a time. It's going to be early in the morning, guys. All right. So I got to get done early in the morning. It's probably going to be around 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. Central Standard Time because I need to knock you guys out before noon. Because, guys, remember, I stream Sunday nights. So it's going to be in the morning, guys. So whoever won that mentorship is going to be early. So all that partying Saturday night, I'm going to be there. Y'all got to be there too with bells and whistles. Remember, I only had one rule, and that's be there. Be there. I don't want no money from you. I'm sponsoring it. I'm paying for it. Just be there. Don't miss a Sunday. Don't miss a Sunday. Don't miss a Sunday. All right. That's the only thing I ask you. Be there. Be there. It's 4 weeks. Be there. I can't wait for the mentorship. 15 of those people here. 684 Dad was one of the winners. You're being paid by Big Cargo Incorporated. You're being paid by who is Big Cargo Incorporated? Never heard of them. I don't know. You're being paid by Big Cargo Incorporated. Don't know who Big Cargo Incorporated is. Anybody that follows my content, they see I don't post anything. No one, I've had people reach out to me and say, hey, we want to sponsor you. We want to be your brand ambassador, or we want you to be the brand ambassador. I don't do that. You don't see this video before we get started. This video is sponsored by, what does it say? Big Cargo Inc. I don't do that. No one's sponsored Mark. No one's paying Mark. Nobody. So I don't know who Big Cargo Incorporated is. So I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about, sir. I've seen a few of those trucks in my neighborhood. What you talking about, the Amazon trucks? What do you think about the electric box truck? Answered that one. Detroit is in the building. What up, Martin? For not answered that one. What up, Mark? Love your content. Atlanta, Georgia in the building. Appreciate you. Thanks for checking in. All right, here's a question. Is it true or insurance get high if you have MC number and DOT number? Is it true your insurance get high if you have MC number and DOT number? If you're running commercially, your insurance is going to be a lot higher than if you put a insurance on a truck and you're not running commercial. You're not running at all. You're just putting insurance on a truck just to have it insured. Yeah. So once you become author, you get your authority, you get your DOT, you get your MC. Yes, that's going to come with a higher price tag on insurance versus if you don't, because it's more risk for the insurance company because you're running commercially. You're operating longer hours, and you're going to be carrying cargo that if anything happens, you're going to be responsible for it, and ultimately you're probably going to file a claim, and they're going to end up having to pay for it. So yes, I got you tabbed on both. What up, Mark? Love your content. Atlanta, Georgia in the building. I have a new business. How can I get finance? I answered that one. I got you tabbed. All right, I think I got to all the questions. We got Kirky Fresh in the building. Yeah, I got to all those questions. Let me get back down here. Yes, I've done my due diligence in my market. As it comes to partials, I've also connected with some dispatchers to get me started. Thanks for the advice. All right, as long as you did your due diligence, then you're all good. Sunday morning works for me. All right, Asa, cool. Sunday morning. So, all right. So if there's not any more questions, then I'm gonna wrap this thing up, and I'm gonna be back Sunday. I got a real cool topic I'm gonna talk about Sunday. I actually kind of touched on it tonight very briefly, but we're gonna get into it on Sunday. And I think it's gonna be one of them ones. All right, we kicking off this year in the right fashion. We're giving away mentorships. We're going to start this year off right. We're challenging other content creators to do the same. I'm only challenging content creators that I deem I hold to a high regard. All right, and not everybody I feel is capable of mentoring, coaching, and educating. All right, when I listen to some people talk, and when I listen to some people talk, and I'm not speaking on anybody that y'all think I'm talking about, I'm not talking about. That's a lot of new people that are coming up. This ain't old issues. So when I'm talking about, I see a lot of new people recommending. It's like a whole new wave of content creators. And I think technically I'm fairly still new. I mean, I've I've seen, rather speak correct English, I've seen success as far as being a creator in a short period of time. But I think that's just due to the work I put in last year on the channel, plus the value that I provided, and that was all based on experience. A plethora of information, because you're talking about years of experience, and I put a lot of time into the channel. Um, uh, Kurt mentioned something on his live earlier tonight. As far as people creating this content and they want to be famous and they want to get a big YouTube check, and I'm here to tell you, and this is coming from a person who in less than a year, I'm approaching 8,000 subs. I probably hit 10,000 subs in less than a year, which is a big, I guess it's a big, what's the word I'm looking for? A big feat or whatever, according to YouTube statistics. But this is not something that I plan for. I just put out information. I worked hard on the channel to get people valuable information. um I think to other content creators, newer guys, if they're watching and listening, I think if you're doing this and you're putting out information that you don't know what the hell you're talking about, you haven't did this, been in this industry, and you're just um copying other people. Because I see another thing, I see people copying content. I see sprinkles of my content out there, you know what I'm saying? But then when they try to talk about things that I talk about, they sound foolish. You know what I'm saying? I think if you're doing this for a check to become famous in this space, I think you're going to eventually, what you're going to do is you're going to expose yourself and make yourself look really, really bad. You're gonna make really, really bad. You're gonna look really, really bad. And I'm speaking to those people right now. And I think what's gonna happen is it's not gonna be other content creators that are tenured in this space that is going to expose you. It's going to be the actual subscribers and the people. And I'm telling you, from what I've seen in this short 8-9 months that I've been, if you mislead people who are investing their money into something and you're telling them things and they hold your information to a value till they find out it's not valuable, they are going to come back on the internet and they're going to destroy you. All right, so really think wisely about what you're doing um before you do it. um it's just not worth it. So I'm not challenging people who I think are posers. I'm challenging people who I hold to a high regard as far as making content um revolving around the space. And the only thing that I ask is that when as people to accept the challenge, and they challenge someone else, and I hope this continues to go on, that when they challenge someone else that is held to a high standard in the space. Because once you start challenging people that aren't held to a high standard in the space, then the whole purpose of this becomes null and void. All right. So if they miss a Sunday, I'm available. If they miss a Sunday, there's going to be one less person. I'm not going to open it back up until I open it back up fully for another class. Um, yeah, because once the thing, if I start 4 weeks and we do that first Sunday and someone misses that first Sunday, and then I add somebody that next Sunday, you're only going to get 3 weeks and you're going to miss what we talked about the first week, so it just wouldn't line up. Inside the truck, what I consider to be good rental rates. I'm gonna be biased on good rental rates. I think, let me not be. I think in today's climate and the economy, I think 100, 100, $125 a day is fair. I think $750 a week to rent a truck. I think that's fair in today's economy. I think 75 cents is good. I think, and this might be a little high. I really want to say 15 cents, but I'm gonna say 19 cents a mile. I'm gonna say $750 for the week. I'm gonna say 19 cents a mile. I think $1,000 is too much. I think 29 cents is too much. I think 25 cents is too much. All right. But I'm gonna say 19, 20 cents a mile, $750 a week. I haven't gave a time yet, but the people who won, they'll get a message either on Instagram DM or their Facebook DM. YouTube definitely doesn't pay like that. So I don't know what some of these cats think when they putting up this content, thinking they're gonna get. The biggest box truck content creator is Vic, as far as if you're looking at per subscriber count, is Vic. The next biggest one that I know of, I don't watch all these guys. There's some other guys that I've seen pop up. There's this Arab guy seeing he had like 70 something. But see, I don't know if all those are true subscribers. So in my eyes that I see, Vic is number one, Box Truck Couple is number two. Number three is a toss-up. I'm speaking per subscriber count. Some people are gonna rank their top box truck content creators. Some people may rank them by the value they give or the value that particular subscriber receives. You know what I'm saying? I'm speaking from subscriber count. So I put Vic at number one. I put the Box Truck Couple at number two. Number three, I don't know. I can't say Kobe Padway because he's been MIA, so he's done. I'm talking about current. I'm talking about active. So Vic 1, Box Truck Couple 2. I don't know who number 3 is. That could be a toss-up. I don't know. But those two are the biggest in my eyes as far as relevancy, subscriber count, and just still being active. Yeah, people know when you're BS real quick now. So people gonna read through the BS, but it's a lot of new content creators in the space, and they trying to make a name for themselves. But like Kirk was saying the other day, I think they're going about it the wrong way. I think right now, to make, like, when people were making this content a year and a half ago, when everybody was making money because rates were high, everybody had stimulus money, PPP money, it was easy to make a video and say you making this, that, and the third, because you probably was making this, that, and the third. But it was also easy to make this, that, and the third, and people followed these people and didn't take the time and the due diligence to realize that these people just started a week ago themselves. And they told you that in the video. Just got my first box truck, just rented my box truck. So you're taking advice, you're spending money with a person who's literally been doing this a month, and you're giving them thousands of dollars. What value are you going to get from this person? All right. Now, and this is what it's kind of, I don't want to say it's good, but because of the climate of the space now, as far as the economy, the rates, it makes it a little bit harder for a person to come on and create a channel now and deem themselves a content creator and try to give out knowledge, right? Because it's not that easy anymore. You really got to have some experience. You really got to know what you're talking about now to create content in this space, right? Because it ain't easy no more. People are failing. People are struggling. So you can't come and sell somebody a crop of BS no more, because they're going to call you out. They're going to call you out. There's some strong, heavy hitters in the space now that really know what they're talking about. All right. So you can't just say anything and think you're going to run your subscriber count up. If you pay attention, sentiment in the space is down. If you look at people's numbers, people ain't getting them type of views no more. They not. Person put up a video and the views ain't kicking like that no more. The sentiment is there. The hype is no longer there anymore. So these newcomers in the space, they really got to know what they're talking about. Like, they really got to know what they're talking about. Really got to know what they're talking about. It is what it is. All right, so man, if it ain't no more questions, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Sunday's topic is gonna be a really cool topic. Like I said, I mentioned it, I touched on it earlier. I think it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be one of those ones that I ain't gonna say it's gonna hurt some feelings, but it ain't gonna hurt nobody like subscribers. Like it may make some influencers mad, but it is what it is, man. You know, it is what it is. It ain't nothing but the truth. But it may make some people. It may not make some people upset. It may hurt some people's feelings because they might have got caught up into it. But that's not what my intentions is. My intentions is to say this stuff so the content can be out there. So even if you fell victim to this, it's unfortunate, but to the people who will be entering into the space later on this year, next year, this content will be up there for resource purposes, for educational purposes, so that they won't make the same mistakes and ultimately meet the same fate as maybe some of the people who this particular content may rub the wrong way. So it's really being made for people entering the space at a later date. Unfortunately, the people who have fell victim to some of this stuff, they may get rubbed the wrong way. But don't look at it like that. Look at it like, man, this is helping somebody later on down the line. All right. So if there's no more questions, we're gonna go ahead and get up out of this thing. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Sunday night, I'll be back. Mentors Podcast. I'm taking off a month, at least a month, for Tuesdays, and then I'll probably come back with a season 2, February. Not February, March. So right now I'm just gonna focus on Sundays and Thursdays. Other than that, no questions. I'm outie, guys. I'm outie. Oh, you know what? One more thing. I ain't never did that before. Said I'm outie and then came back, and there's still people still in here. One more thing. I meant to talk about this. So I'm back. I'm back. Still some people in here. So look, when I mentioned earlier about people getting into the space and that don't have the money, and I talked about those gig apps and those opportunities for you to really hustle and make the money and put the money to the side and save up. Like, I may do something where I'm gonna show y'all it can be done. All right. Now, if I'm willing to take time out of my day to show you, you can take time out your day to do it. All right. It can be done. All right. Entering into the space now is very expensive. So you may want to enter with some capital. And if you don't have the capital, I'm telling you, there's resources out there for you to make the money to get into the space. All right. So if I may set up something where what I'm gonna do is, and I'm not saying I'm gonna do it, but I may do it. I'm gonna create a 1-week challenge for myself, and I'm gonna show you that this can be done. So I'm gonna download some multiple apps, and I'm gonna call myself the Gigolo. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be a gigolo, and I'm gonna show you guys how to make it happen so that you can get to where you need to get to. And I'm gonna document it. All right. So I'm gonna try to do that. I got this mentorship I gotta focus on for a month, but if I can knock it out maybe before the end of the month, I will. So I'm gonna be the gigolo. For a week, and I'm gonna document it, and then I'm gonna compare like what I was able to make, and I'm gonna say, look, this is what you can do without a box truck, without a cargo van. This is what you can do in your personal vehicle to get to where you need to get to use that as a stepping stone to get to the next level. All right. So call me if when I do that for that week, I ain't gonna be Mark the Mentor. I'm gonna be the gigolo. The gigolo. So I'm just gonna do that. I think that'll be cool to show you guys that it can be done, and that'll be that. Alexis thinks that's awesome. Brian, after that name, you got to do it. Yeah, I'm probably going to do it. I'm probably going to do it. It's something I've been thinking about. I just got to find the time to do it. Um, this mentorship thing is taking away a lot of the time, but um, I think it's something that needs to be done because I get a lot of questions about it. Like I think people want to do it, but they don't. I guess they don't believe it's possible, or they don't have a system in place. And even though I tell them the system, I guess I'm gonna have to show people like, yo, I know people that are doing this. So I'm gonna download these apps. Some of them I already downloaded. I just got to go through the onboarding process. Rody already got downloaded. I'm gonna and then we're gonna I'm gonna on Monday morning, I'm just gonna cut them all on, and we're gonna work them for 6 to 8 hours, and we're gonna document. And then at the end of the week, we're gonna say, look, this is what you can do in your car. So I don't want no excuses. I don't want no excuses. All right. So that's something I'm probably gonna work on too, guys. Um, Great idea. I appreciate you. Have to do it, bro. Yeah, I'm probably gonna do it. I'm probably gonna do it. So just give me some time. Let me find some time to do it. That week I'm gonna be called the Gigolo, and we're gonna get to it. But I'm out for real this time, guys. I just thought about that in my closing credits. Guys, I'm gonna see you Sunday. I didn't hit the gym today, so I gotta go get this late workout in the gym. All right, guys. I see you guys Sunday. I'm out.